Welcome to Dojo.
Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to gloat when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Aragaisi. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin, who cheated who, which engine
That
did he
ain't
hack, and
Mouse.
he got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvork, but he can't be wrong. He scored a like from Truan. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes, true not over the board. It's only the other chat. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless. He rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction. The status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 all accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe, rating's what I'll receive. Don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I stepped away from easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, rating's what I'll receive. So Joe got into the business, stopped the app sickness, daily practice his rhythm, he even upped his fitness. He found sparring cathartic, postmortems charming. With the plus equal minus, he was armed for elo farming. With notepad and pen, he built up calluses, escape rating paralysis with lengthy game analysis. With sensei direction, he sold his collection. Read one classic and that was fantastic. Now he locked to the spot where they checking off boxes. Young prodigies and some wily old foxes. 3.5 points per box, that's shocking progress. Goal nearing, cohort cheering, Joe doesn't hear it. He's monotasking, no relaxing, concentration maxing. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work, work, never stop. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work, never stop. Now occasionally, he peeps the world of the tweet and laughs when he sees the player that he used to be. Blank face staring, complex plans comparing while he's dojo training. Hours a day playing out positions, transpositions, and growing his board vision. Transition from poser to player, focus without a care. He leaves them complaining in his dust, staying with their week-old ratings. Blast past his week-old rating, each week's a new occasion. He never takes vacation, the work is entertaining, the growth he's maintaining. And now Joe is explaining, hey, don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, rating's what I'll receive. Don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, rating's what I'll receive. Welcome to the dojo.
Welcome to Dojo.
Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to gloat when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Aragaisi. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin, who cheated who, which engine
That
did he
ain't
hack, and
Mouse.
he got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvork, but he can't be wrong. He scored a like from Truan. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes, true not over the board. It's only the other chat. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless. He rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction. The status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 all accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know? Welcome to the dojo. It's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo. I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe. Rating's what I'll receive. Don't you know? Welcome to the dojo. It's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo. I stepped away from easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe. Rating's what I'll receive. So Joe got into the business, stopped the app sickness, daily practice his rhythm, he even upped his fitness. He found sparring cathartic, postmortems charming. With the plus equal minus, he was armed for ELO farming. With notepad and pen, he built up calluses, escape rating paralysis with lengthy game analysis. With sensei direction, he sold his collection. Read one classic and that was fantastic. Now he locked to the spot where they checking off boxes. Young prodigies and some wily old foxes. 3.5.
All right, my friends, here we are. The famous David Proust is going to join me in a little bit, and it's going to be a little bit different today. He is going to do the grad show later. He's going to do it, dude. I'm not going to do it. He's going to do it. And I need to do some stuff on the calendar to make sure people know about that. Let's take a look. Weenie. Okay. This is modern chess, buddy. Now, okay, we're going to play on the light squares and stuff. Black takes a big thing here. Personally, I feel like there is little to no danger here for black. And I'm certain, the question here in this position would be, what about knight a5? Perhaps then knight f6, queen f6, bishop d5. It's not the most impressive thing, right? So we get this instead. Queen d2. This stops kind of sort of knight a5, because then knight f6, a6, castles, b5, bishop b3, king h8 is a weird move that I'm not sure I understand. And we get a3 and rook b8. Yeah, this is turning into fancy chess. Now, maybe c4 is a thought here. I don't really believe that either. Yeah. We'll say the obvious too. Ding didn't want to play, dude. Ding didn't want to play. So the Chinese team was like, all right, Ding, you don't have to play, buddy. You don't have to play. It's all right. You kidding me, boss? If you want to be a world champion, what are you doing? Ducking the play. Come on, man. What are you doing? So anyways, this guy Wei Yi, probably stronger than Ding at the moment. He's there to defend the Chinese honor. I'm not looking at the engine, and I have no idea. My sense, just my human sense, is that it's just equal. There's moves here, though, that are a little bit weird and hard to understand. War games at the moment. Hi, Max. How you doing? Definitely some kind of war games. So my instinct here, by the way, I'm just going to cover this game. Not interested in other games. And kind of want to just, say, test my chess skills by trying to guess the move. The problem for white is he has one minor trump with the knight and a little bit more control of the light squares. But that control can be wrested from him in a variety of ways. c4. At some point, a simple thing for black to do is to play g6 and bishop g7. Do I understand king h8? Maybe I do. So with king h8, I get it now. You are threatening knight a5. Before, if you play knight a5, I can throw this move in with check. And then you have to take pawn takes. But now knight a5 is a threat because I can throw knight b3 in as an intermezzo. So Gukesh says fine, plays that quickly, and then rook b8. And this dude is taking a little bit too long. And it was especially this move here, bang. He thought for 22 minutes on this move. Gukesh thought pretty long on castles. Let him do this thing to him. Threatening knight a5. And now this weird move, rook b8. One of the problems that black has is it's not totally clear what to do in this position. And I think a lot of times as fans, we come on these situations and we're like, oh, there's nothing to do. This is kind of boring. I recently studied a game of mine that I played at the U.S. Senior, and there's a really interesting kind of problem, if you will, of what happens when you don't know what the frick to do. And it's a very hard momentito to deal with. It seems boring as a fan, but when you're in the moment, you're like, oh my God, I have to do something. And that's when you can jerk, when you can do something strange. And it can be very psychologically painful to not know what to do. Okay, so what happened here is dude said, I'm not worried about your knight a5, your knight e7, or your c4. And finally he plays g6. I feel, by the way, he could have played g6 long ago. A good moment would have been just g6 right here, boom. Fix the bishop, and then you're thinking maybe f5, but you're just out of harm's way after you play g6. But, white's last two moves, a3 and h3, they're helpful. They're helpful, they don't do too much. So now we get g6. Now, one question I had was, what about knight e7? That was my little question. So if we imagine we cannot play c4 would be weird because we're opening the rook. So if we just imagine taking. Oh, no, I get it. Then we have this move. Okay, good. So now g6. Melt Like Butter says, I expect all draws in India versus China. Oh, I don't. I think, I'm not watching the other games, by the way, but if someone could tell me, like, if there's a decisive result, I'm most interested in this game, but the decisive result would affect how the players in this game play. I definitely think, even though the position's got to be equal, that Gukesh has a nice situation, right, with being up in time here. A little bit hard to know exactly what to do. A kind of a standard plan is to play knight h2. But on knight h, it's the old Fischer business of maybe knight g4, maybe f4. But then you got to worry about knight d4. Maybe it's not so special, but it's something you're going to have to calculate. And like I said, with I want a word for it, by the way. Something like, some kind of word like strategic zugzwang. Yeah. some kind of word to describe this feeling of like, God, I don't know what to do. Knight h2 is definitely something to do. One drawback of knight h2 is in this position, if bishop g7 were played, black would have to be a little concerned about knight g5, right? Yeah, I'd be a little concerned. So that's one reason to maybe not play knight h2. Also, with knight h2, let's say bishop g7, what are we really doing, right? What is it, boss, that we are doing in this position? So, the other natural move for white is c3. But now the bishop is totally undefended on b3. So now after I play bishop g7, knight e7 is not a dumb move, as well as the very basic f5. So I think what white needs to say to themselves is, oh, bishop g7 does represent a kind of threat. Now maybe when we play c3, if bishop g7, and then I say I've got this move, right? And I claim that that's something for me. Kind of true, okay. It is a tactical bummer, though, that when I play c3, my bishop is loose. Is a4 done? Ask Abdul. Well, I'll tell you what my first question would be on a4. Maybe you could play a4. It's funny, I appreciate that I like white just because of the time advantage, but on the other hand, black has a simple way of playing the position with bishop g7. So white has to do something pronto. And I guess the first question with a4 is knight a5. So, obviously here and here, spanking us is not what we want. So, I guess you got to do that. And now this is a threat. And so here we would have a choice between b4 and bishop g7. It's hard to imagine that white is doing anything after b4, right? Especially because this will at some point become noxious. As a thought, you could trade out with knight f6 or something. Okay, interesting position for us to try to put ourselves in dude's shoes here. Oh, somebody might be talking to me over here. No. Okay. Bruce is going to join me in a little bit. And that poor dude has to do the grad show later. That's his punishment. Where's the line of scrimmage? I've never heard that used for chess before. That's pretty good, though. Where's the line of scrimmage? I guess I would say this line right here, right in the middle of the board. I can't draw an arrow there. I want it. That's our line of scrimmage right there. Our line of scrimmage. This is where I could fall apart if I was playing white, for sure. A battle of endurance against boredom. I've been in this situation a lot. I don't know, I wouldn't call it boredom. I think for the fans sometimes it feels like boredom, but it's a real pressure to find a plan. And White has to, I feel, White has to realize that this is a big strategic threat where you don't control the dark squares anymore. And eventually black is going to become better. Now, I don't think bishop g7 right now is a thing because of knight g5, right? But concerns are obvious. And that's not even, I don't know, that knight g5 is not the most impressive thing that anyone's ever seen. Even bishop d7 getting out of the way. Or even h6 letting you take the bishop. That would be a little weird, but that's a thought. Oh, all right. This is testing my business a little bit here, guys, because I don't have a strong conviction of how white should play this position. What did I not like about c3? All right, at the moment, my guess the move is c3 here. Yeah, we're only going to look at this one, boss. We'll look at the other games later, but this one is the game of the day. That's the dojo way. So right now, for example, the dojo is trying to figure out how Gukesh plays. And, oh, dude, we have Gukesh Ding coming up soon. Yeah. So I want to have a sense. I want to be inside Gukesh's little mind. I want to know how the kid thinks. All right, I'm going for c3 right now, with the thought that bishop g7 is met by knight g5 and that we're not afraid of knight a5. I might come to regret that thing, but I think knight a5, bishop a2, I'm not afraid of c4. I'll just take the thing. Maybe I'm afraid of knight e7. No, I am not. I go here, here, here. No, no, no. No puedo play. Okay, so I'm c3. Now, long term, my intention could be to play bishop a2 and maybe b4. Okay. And also, like Gukesh cannot think forever. This is ultimately an intuitive decision here. Now, one thing we could say, kind of an interesting question is like, he could have played c3 here as well. The question mark here, though, is like, do you feel like that's a big deal with the pawns there? And, you know, black could then play for like, but this knight is garbage, dude. So Cry's not sure about that. These are all, by the way, like these mealy-mouthed modern Rui positions, where you play all these little moves. And it might seem boring to us or inconsequential, but these people have studied a lot of structures like this. This is like where Magnus really became the super GM that he is, and playing little positions like this. All right, so dude is in a pretty long think. And okay, another simple idea he could do is play bishop a2 with the intention of playing b4. That's a thought. That's a very simple and basic thought. Okay, now I'm questioning my own c3. Because maybe c3 is not such a big thing. Blowhot is asking, why not a4? A4 is on, definitely a candidate. Abdul recommended that earlier. And the thing that if I was white, I would want to understand. Oh, wait a second. I just realized. No, yeah, that's right. The thing I'd want to understand is a4, how do we play against knight a5? The best I could come up with was bishop a2, but then b4. And I didn't understand how white plays from here. Right? That's one of the things I'm sure he's looking at, though. One way to think about that variation, too, is to say, well, if b4 is in any way effective, we're helping the rook on b8. This rook b8, dude, he thought for 5 minutes on this move. I mean, if you want to praise the move, you got to call it deep prophylaxis, right? We got some moves here that are all deep, a whole series of moves that are deep prophylaxis here. We begin here, king h8, maybe unnecessary, but now things like, now knight a5 is threatened. Ding defends, ding, Gukesh, b8, h3, just useful. And now we get our g6 move. No, he's lost his time advantage. He's lost his time advantage, dude. Well, you still need to find a plan. I do think, though, that he's broken my own master's rule of thinking for more than 10 minutes, and that's always a bad thing. It'd be cool if Chess.com and its little interface would allow me to see how much time has been spent. But anyways, in my head, it's about 11 or 12 minutes now. And the moves are all going to start coming fast and furious. You know, and mistakes are going to be made. That's the thing a lot of people, I feel, I don't know if they fail to appreciate, but like they think of the game as decided in the opening. But look at this position. We're now going to head into time pressure. These guys are not going to have that much time to think. Mistakes are going to be made. And we're going to just get a full-on mess here soon. And I wouldn't necessarily say this is a Rui where black's up a bunch of tempi. What white got was he got this knight on d5. So he does have this minor trump on the light squares. That's his trump. This bishop could become a monster later. Okay, somebody finally moved. c3. My first instinct was right. I kind of was leaning c3 for a long time, and then I switched to bishop a2. And I'll just tell you why that thought process happened that way, is that I was saying to myself that long term, if I have a plan, it's to move the bishop and to play b4. It also made me nervous that this guy is momentarily loose. But I didn't see anything wrong with c3. And I think if it's white's move here, he's going to play here and then make black think about this move. There might be some way to make a4 work, but it's so maybe an idea of c3 is that the a4 move maybe has a little bit more juice. It's hard for me to believe because a4 b4 or something, and yeah. Okay, now the problem for black, my friends, okay, the problem for black is that it's not the same way it was hard to know what white should do. It's not easy to know what black should do. My sense is that if bishop g7, that this is an advantage for white. Is it a big deal advantage? No, but it might be a little something, something, right? Might be a little something, something. There's no bishop h6 because of knight f7. And I think a key bummer, if you let me take here, it's not just that I won the light squares. That pawn on e6 could be strong. It's that then it's going to be hard for this bishop to do things, like to get out. But that's definitely an argument that black is thinking about now. Like, should I just let him take on e6 and then say, well, you took it on e6, boss, and now your knight has to move? That's a thought. One thing, too, is you still need a constructive move here. And h6 would force me to take, but then you lose the ability later to put your own bishop on h6. Well, that's right. That's right. That's what we've been saying, Abdul. If black gets bishop g7, f5, he's better. That's why I think what we're banking on for white is that bishop g7 is met by knight g5. Let me see, looks like bishop g7 did happen. So by the way, dude thought for 17 minutes on c3. 17 minutes, buddy. Okay, and Wei Yi is like, screw it, dude. I'm ready to play bishop g7. And then now strategically, if we don't have knight g5, we're in a little trouble. So if he gets f5, then knight g5, he's got bishop g8, and he's doing great. Oh, Gukesh, you got to move, buddy. Bows, you got to move. Abdul's talking about knight g5, bishop c8. Maybe. I don't know. The first question there, though, of course, would be, well, I'll play f4 now. And is it hard to judge? It's hard to judge. Yeah, it's really hard to judge. f4, maybe bishop h6, dude. You know. Now that could become weird and unpleasant. Here's with f6 next. By the way, our friend Abdul uses the computer. Abdul, dude, you know, come on. Bishop c8 is obviously a computer move to me because a normal human would play bishop d7. Now, is it a valid question, Abdul, to move the bishop and then kick the knight? Sure, but bows. Don't use your computer. Put a human move on the board like bishop d7. Come on now. Melt like butter. Melt like butter asks, is it bows or bows with a WS or EAUS? And it honestly depends on the regional dialect. So, you know, depend to people you're talking to. Yep. So some people, a lot of people in Germans, they spell it with AUS. And people in Canada go AWS. And the people in the South, they just say BOSS, but that's just because of how they say it, bows. That's the way they say it anyway, you know. And I think there's a couple other spellings, but again, I haven't traveled the full world to know how it's spelled bows. All right, so Gukesh is in a little bit of a problem here, dude.
Testing Boar's notification.
Testing bows notification. Now, DM Hokey, let me ask you, do we have the sound going on now again? Is that something only you can use, or can people do it now? Well, you need to get my attention, dog. But I also want to know if other people, like if I'm doing a grad show and my scene is wrong, are there other people who can do it? Only mods, okay. But didn't back in the day when we first started, you could pay like 10 cents to use it or something like that, right? Uh-oh, Gukesh has suddenly got himself a problem. Gukesh has got himself a problem. Well, let's do that, DM Hokey. Let's have him donate a little, I don't know, X amount. And then, because I need people to shout at me sometimes, you know? It's importante. You can't make it so cheap, though, that you get clowns just going off on it, you know? Am I drinking milk? Well, I just got this thing going on. It's kind of end of the summer. I got a coffee that I'll drink till it's kind of cold, and then I'll put it in the milk with ice. So sometimes I have a sip of the milk before I dump the coffee in there, but that's what's going on. All right, my friends, we have a simple problem that Abdul's computer has identified for us. That if knight g5, what if the bishop moves and asks us, well, what do you want? And then the problem is long term just to kick me and then f5 me. Right? Abdul, we know you're talking to your computer, boss. We know you're talking to the computer. Don't talk to me about natural and unnatural. Come on, buddy. All right. Now, this is a real problem for Gukesh, dude, because if you don't do knight g5, well, what do you do? And it's a real bummer that f4, I think, runs into bishop h6. And then I don't know what to do with our souls. See, before we play f4, we've got the knight f7 trick to meet bishop h6, but now we do not. So I don't know what we were supposed to do there, man. Oh, that's horrible. We can't even, we can't move the knight anywhere, too, to just threaten that simple coconut. Looks kind of like the milk's gone bad here, dude. Oh, Gukesh has lost his mind, dude. Now, you see what we're saying? Like, it looked boring, and all of a sudden it's like, uh-oh, there is a concrete problem, a strategic problem, I guess we should say, facing white. But it's concrete in that he has to find something now to deal with the drama, or else he's going to get cooked. Now, a move that's very unsatisfying, but would be like the kind of admission of failure move, would be queen g5. There's a variety of things that black could do after that move. But like I said, that's our admission of failure move. Basically, if we trade queens, the f5 assault is going to be less deadly. Now, I'm not sure yet. I'm going to recommend that move for poor Gukesh. Will there ever be a book on how to play positions without any valid plans? There's a lot of books out there talking about strategic plans. Usually they're talking about other things as well. I don't know if we've had a focus book. A quote from Kasparov back in the day that I was thinking about recently is, tactics are when there is something to do, and strategy is when there's nothing to do. It's kind of a fun quote. Here, we have a strategic idea from black. It's very brutal and simple to play f5. And concretely, we need to make that at least difficult. If we do not make it difficult, we're just going to get raged on. Now, a move I really dislike, but maybe I would consider if I was feeling desperate, would be g4. And there the intention is that on f5 we want here. Again, I'm not thrilled about this. I'm just putting it on the board. Here. Bishop d7 or c8, also a thing. Here. And then try to pretend that I'm going to live through this thing. After h6, though, it's already gone, as an example. Because my knight is toast. So, it was not surprising that g4 got cooked. But, like I said, it's kind of a rough road here for white. Definitely a rough road. I don't know how the Americans are doing. I'm focused solely on this game. But you guys could tell me. I also need an update if one of the Indian players look like they're about to win or something. Because that would mean Gukesh could start playing. Well, I think he's playing for a draw here anyway. He's playing for a draw here anyway, man. Yeah, on Queen G5, Abdul, there's all kinds of things that black could do. I'm not totally thrilled on the way on your variation, because then, you could do your variation too. No, I don't like your variation, because at the end I'll play rook d1. Your computer probably has some idea there, but it doesn't make full sense to me. I just know for sure too that after Queen G5, like f6 is a reasonable move. There's so many reasonable moves at that point. Even h6, less ambitious, but we still believe in black after h6. My way, buddy. Do I have knight b4 after f5? Well, that's an interesting question. I'm just going to go ahead and admit I did not think about that at all, Merles. That's pretty good. So look at what Merles is saying. f5, knight b4. Maybe a real exclam move. Oh. Okay, now we have ourselves, that's something real that that Merle's discovered. Okay, that breathes new life into our position. Now, is that something dude sees? I don't know, Merles. I don't know. I feel that's a pretty advanced tactic. So, interesting. If we imagine then, let's just put bishop a2 on the board for a second. I believe in your tactic, by the way. I think here, at the minimum, white is no longer afraid of just getting crushed. You know, no longer afraid of just getting crushed. So, let's put queen d7 on the board for a second. This just threatens f5. But now we do knight g5. Now we do knight g5, and the bishop no puedo escape. Oh, this position is hot, dude. Okay, Merles, you have discovered an important resource. So now, bishop a2, by the way, there's other moves I can imagine a stronger player making than bishop a2. But bishop a2 at least makes black think about b4. Now, is b4 that strong of a thing for white? I don't know. Probably not that special, honestly. But bishop a2 does at least protect my bishop. Oh, dude, he's gone. He is really tanking. And I will tell you, my friends, doesn't matter if you're a super GM like Gukesh or just some chump, when this happens, your mind is spinning and you don't have a lock on what's going on. Right? You're kind of just spinning around and around. Let's look at what we're talking about here. Bishop a2. Sure, h6 is what Abdul's computer saying. Then queen d7 would be a thing. And then the question becomes, well, what is white doing? What, my dear friend, are you doing? Maybe knight h2 now. On f5, we still have knight b4. And on queen d7, the human thing to do would at least be to try to get some kind of play like that going. It still looks suspicious for white, especially since the bishops want the position to open, and a very basic move to play would be f5. And then, you know, you just kind of want to believe in black here. Yeah, but that's maybe a plausible way it could go. Okay, he moved. What did he do? Bishop a2. Oh, I called it, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Now, it might not solve all of white's problems, but it at least Chump GM is like dialed in on how this person thinks. All right. Will he find knight b4? Well, right. I think f5 is like, you could miss knight b4. You could definitely miss knight b4. That's a great trick. Let's just show that one more time. Black would like to play f5, but then there's this move to contend with. Now, it's got to be stressed. This doesn't win the game for white, but it just alleviates all of his grief because we're going to win this bishop. Or actually, I guess maybe that might be best play. And then maybe snip, snop. And at the very least, this bishop isn't looking at us so drastically. Arguably, black is still just simply better here. Yeah. This is still... So the problem in this position, as I get it, as I understand it, is that black wants to play f4 and g5 and roll me up, but because he doesn't have any knights, it's going to actually be hard to crack the g4 square, right? So what are we talking about? Like, let's say I play rook fe1. Black would like to organize some kind of f4, g5, g4, but it's very slow, and then I'll have d4 and such, right? Okay, so here we go, bishop a2. Now here's the problem, Abdul. This is why I don't like you telling me things. I want to try to imagine myself in Wei Yi's shoes. Now, personally, I have blundered crazy moves like knight b4 so many times in my career. I've blundered that bad boy a bunch. So would I have seen that? That's an interesting question. And h6, which is Abdul's computer's move, it takes a little bit of cojones to play because you're then assuming that white has moves like b4 and knight h2 aren't really going to do anything. Okay, dude is here. Bring this in. Oh, wrong window, boss. Whoop. So, open Zoom meetings. Boss, how you doing?
Excellent, Jesse. Excellent.
Nice. We got an interesting game on our hands.
Yeah.
All right, so let me grab El Zumo here, or grab your picture, your beautiful visage.
Yeah. The game's going badly for my boy.
You have so many boys. Which boy are we talking about?
Gukesh.
I would say it's interesting. I don't know. I don't know. Did you see a computer eval? Is that what you're seeing? No.
Would I see a computer eval? No.
Well, sometimes it's hard to avoid. Like if you just show
I
up
got
on
it all turned
Chess.com.
off.
If you just show up Chess.com, man, they'll force that on you. I've been kind of like, Abdul is unfortunately shouting computer evals at me. Okay. And then
Why would Abdul do that?
he loves it, dude. He's telling me. I tell him to stop, but he's not stopping. Okay. Now, one thing that I don't
And
think.
even if I saw a computer eval, I don't know that it would change the way I assess things. I'm pretty used to just looking at it with human eyes and asking myself.
Oh, of course, it would change things. Here's the thing, David. What would you do here, boss?
As black?
Yeah.
So white wants to play like knight e3 and trade my bishop pair, right?
That's
and
a
I
thought.
want to play f5,
Yeah.
but at the right time.
Well, I guess that's the real interesting question. Can you play f5?
F5, knight g5. No?
So this is something I didn't see this. There's a dude named Merles in chat, and I think he came by this. Honestly, he found knight b4. Yeah.
Yeah, Merles is a 2200 level player with a very sharp tactical.
Ooh. Okay. So f5 was played. Now my sense, Mr. Proofs, is that Gukesh is largely out of danger after knight b4.
Okay, I agree. He's basically one minor piece trade away from sort of stabilizing things. But you were saying he could go bishop d7, right? And then you don't get the bishop off, exactly.
You don't get the bishop off, but I was thinking about this position, right? Like, let's just say I play a lame-o move like rook here. I have other moves. Maybe queen e2 is stronger. But the point is, like, now when you try to roll me up...
Have you tried knight g5 in this position?
We could talk about it. Yeah,
Okay.
we could talk about it. But I'm just trying to say I don't feel the danger for white because it's going to be really hard, I think impossible, to crack the g4 square because I got two pieces that work on the light squares and you just have one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's why after knight b4, I wasn't concerned about white anymore. I was with you, though.
I see. And if the c pawn were on c7, black could play like the FEBE structure, but with the c pawn on c5, it's like...
Right. Now, I will say this with Gukesh, where he's really been blowing it, dude, was on the moves c3 and bishop a2. Well, especially c3. He tanked. And there was a kind of, you know that feeling when you're just freaking lost
Yeah.
and you have no idea what to do? That feeling was going on for him, dude. That feeling was going on. And I don't think he saw bishop g7 coming. Like, I thought that he probably thought that knight g5 would save his coconuts. But then Abdul's computer showed that bishop d7, bishop c8, black is doing great. Going to push my knight away, and you still play f5. Right? Now, Mr. Proust, I'm going to go ahead and venture something. If he doesn't play knight b4 right away, it kind of means he doesn't see it.
I mean, yeah, I'd say 2 minutes or so.
Yeah. If you don't play knight b4 now, dude, when this kind of time pressure, you just don't see it. And it's the kind of thing that you might not see it, man.
Right. How bad are other moves? Like the super basic move is knight e3 and the plausible move is knight g5?
Yeah. Okay, we could talk about that. My sense was that those positions were good for black. Which one do you want to look at first?
Let's play the basic, knight e3.
Okay. So, right, we're
I
going
mean,
to...
that's a move that you could not see. Everybody would consider moving their knight. You just drop back, huh?
I think I want to drop back, yep.
Lead me to my misery. And then, what am I doing, boss?
Exactamundo. That's what I'm saying. If he doesn't play knight b4 soon, he just doesn't see it, dude.
So here it sucks. All right, let me try knight g5 before I...
But now you can't play knight e3.
Right, I know. Play knight g5 first. So now you're saying I got no squares, huh?
And by the way, like bishop g8 is a comfort move because I cover f7 and stuff, but I might be able to play bishop d7.
That would be rough.
I mean, that would be the maximalist move, right? To play. And maybe that's just the correct, like, King's Indian spot for the bishop anyway, you know?
Yeah. All right, I think either way, against either move, I might be reduced to f4. So that's what I'm going to try.
I think we have to say, though, that when this goes down, you are really struggling. Like, snip. By the way, knight g5 was played, dude. I don't think he saw knight b4. I don't think he saw it, dude. Oh, buddy. He didn't see it, man. Merle's, buddy. You got to go to the World Championship, buddy. What are you doing sitting
Merle's
around
is
with
ready.
us chumps?
You think Merles could win the World Championship match?
Well, dude, the point is the World Championship match will be decided on whether you see things like knight b4.
Yeah. And whether you show up. I mean, Ding didn't show up today.
Well, like Woody Allen says, man, the first rule of success is you got to show up.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe knight g5 has some incredible ideas, but we don't see it yet. All right, David, I think either move... let's just talk about it strategically. This is probably fine, but in general, we don't want to trade off our good King's Indian bishop, right? So that's why the maximalist move would be putting it somewhere. Let's put it on d7 for half a moment.
I agree. Bishop d7 looks really good.
And let's just say the basics, there's no easy way to put this knight anywhere.
God, if I could just move the knight on d5 to h1, it would be my best move here.
Don't do that, bud.
It's hilarious, right? It's on the best square on the board. Just get it out of there.
Now, you do have to have cojones to play bishop d7. You also could argue when you're making this decision that there might be some tactical reason why c8 is better, like the control of d6 or something. Let's look at your move.
I really don't think Wei Yi needs to be too brave right now. I think he can play any move with his bishop and feel pretty confident in his position.
Max, this is coffee plus ice plus milk. Okay, let's look. You were talking about f4 earlier, right?
Yeah.
What happens if I just say snippos?
Yeah, then my knight is dangly. So I take with my queen.
You gotta take with your queen, right? Now the good news is there's still this trick. Bishop h6, knight f7. Oh, wait a second. You guys, is the sound really bad? A lot of times it is, and I have to put in headphones, and then Kostya will just, dude, oh man, he will rip me apart.
Don't think about it, Jesse. Don't think about it.
Okay, David, basic question. Can I do that? Pawn takes pawn? This one's actually asking, I feel like, too much, because knight f7, king g8, and I've just done myself. I can't do it to myself. I can't do it. So we're not going to do that.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that. I'm a little bit low. Is there an echo though? I can move the mic a little closer to myself if you like.
Why don't I do the thing, man? Hold on, I'll go get those. You entertain him, and I'll get my business over here.
All right, guys. We got the move bishop g8. The safer move, defending the weak squares on e6 and f7 and countering the bishop on a2. But by leaving the bishop on the same diagonal as the bishop on a2, very good chances that white can get a bishop trade. And I hear that Gukesh moved really quickly in response, which is good news. And before looking at his move, I'm going to guess that he played e takes f5. Because that's actually what I wanted to do. And I was thinking, even in this position where I was trying f4 against Jesse, I was thinking maybe I should play ef5 first. So let's see if Gukesh has traded on f5. Yes, instantaneous trade on f5. Okay. That looks fine to me. I mean, borderline playable position to me. E5 opens up the position for the bishop, right? Why is it good? Yeah, it opens up the position for the opponent's bishop. Nobody is winning just yet, K Baba Mishra, but I think that Wei Yi's position is a little bit more comfortable to play. Not the end of the world, as long as Gukesh doesn't lose his mind or get too low on time. It's still, a position he can handle. And against gf5, maybe then you play f4, and that pawn sort of sits on f5. Like a slightly dumb pawn. Yeah.
How do we sound now, you guys? Is that an improvement? Is Kostya going to be, is he not going to kill me?
Doe says it's a lot better.
Oh, okay, good. So knight g5, bishop g5, and tell us about this instinct you had here, Mr. Dave. Oh, by the way, bishop g8, what a weenie move. Yeah. What a weenie move, bishop g8.
That's okay.
No, that's the comfort move, dude. You feel sad about your f7 square, so you move your bishop back.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's no good.
Okay. Okay, so the point here is that if black plays gf and white plays f4, then the f5 pawn that's left for black is a little bit weak. right? A little bit of a chump of a pawn just stuck there, I think. Um, and if rook takes f5, then you get another square on e4, right? Another light square for your knights to dance around.
Yeah, you got to play GF because every Russian schoolboy knows you got to play GF.
You've got to play GF?
Well, rook f5, like you give me the e4 square. It
Yeah.
looks pretty good, dude.
Okay. The thing about the rook f5 position is that now if the d5 knight moves, black might be able to play d5 in some cases because there's no e-pawn. So I sort of expect he'll take with the rook, Jesse.
Okay, let me try to defend the honor of the traditional move, GF. You want to play f4. So what I see in this position is even if it's your move here,
Right.
I still think I like black a little bit more.
Okay.
Because FE, DE, and then I'm going to overwhelm your D5 square.
Oh, I'm not going to play FE.
I'm just saying, if it's your move, I don't know how you get me, is what I'm trying to say.
I don't like immediately get you, but I will probably. What will I do?
It's also a fair question. It's like, what am I going to do? I'm not entirely
Right.
sure. Let me just contrast this for a second with what I thought was correct in Mundo. So bishop d7. Let's just look at this for a second. EF, GF. Conceivably, he could play this way too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
Now, one thing about this is I don't really want I don't think I ever really want to trade these guys. And I want to hold on to that pawn.
Yeah. I think one of the main things I'm going to do is bring my queen to either h4 or h5 as white. Just to give you a preview. And of course you could go h6 before my queen gets there. But if you do, then you have to worry a little bit about the g6 square in some lines, and you no longer have bishop h6, right? So I don't think you would love to play h6, although you might just
Let's say go
do it.
h6,
Yeah.
knight f3,
Yeah.
and then say it's time to fight for the square.
Okay.
Maybe just rook a e1 or
Ooh,
something.
I take twice on e5. Woo.
Oh, that's not very nice, Mr. Bruce. Let's show his trick. Takes, and it doesn't matter if I throw this one in with knight e5, and then
Nothing
bishop
matters.
e5.
Nothing really matters.
That was a nice one.
Nothing really matters.
To me. Okay.
Do.
Well, this game is lighting up, man. Okay. So knight g5, bishop
But I
g8.
think he's going to play rook f5, Jesse, which will be much less lit than gf5. I really think he's going to play the weenier kind of move.
Let's play rook f5 for a second. I'm just going to assume that knight e4 is the move. And then what do you do?
And black play knight e7 and just trade some businesses.
But I think there we can make the argument that black is a little worse. Like, I don't know where you want to take. And then if I need to, I'll play c4.
Yeah.
Now you got a cruddy bishop.
Yeah, a little bit. I was thinking that I could get it out at h6 with, queen h4 or something, but I keep having to defend my d pawn.
Yeah.
And even on h6, it wouldn't be like a world beater. It would be slightly less cruddy. Yeah, c4 is a nice move there. That seems like an advantage for white. So let me see if I can be less dumb about knight e7. So rook f5, knight e4. Can I play a move like b4? Trying to do something over there. Get the d4 square for my knight, maybe. I was trying to play it for black.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I would play it for either side, honestly.
All right, so b4.
Yeah.
So I'm just pondering knight e3 if I want to make that trade happen.
Right.
I'm
Honestly, you should throw in AB probably, even if you want an 93 me. That's just a free file for your rook.
okay.
And that A pawn's pretty trash.
Good. So now on b3, if knight f5 doesn't work, I'll just play bishop b1 like a lame-o and take on rook a6 next.
Exactly. And then D6 will be hanging too.
Yeah.
Here, black needs like a heck of a drug. They have to do something like B3, bishop B1, D5, knight F5, GF, because in the normal course of things, they're starting to fall apart, actually.
Can
Like
I just can actually let me just make a little thought. Let me just post a thought. So imagine actually that I think both me and you, David, were like a little full of fear for white in this position because of our prejudices toward like King's Indian positions and yada yada. And so therefore we both were like knight b4, let's bail the F out.
Yeah.
Let's assume for half a second that dude actually
Likes
saw
what
it.
he's doing.
They actually saw knight b4 and he was like, you know what? I like my chances better over here.
Yeah.
And we're saying, oh, this is a little bit unpleasant for a peasant.
Yeah. It's possible, Jesse, because I like how fast he's played his last few moves. I hate tanking,
Right.
but the only way to get excused for tanking in the Proust world is to play the next moves really quickly, and then you're like, dude was tanking for a reason. Saw some things.
All right, Merles has an idea. He wants to defend the honor of GF, which, that's what we want to defend. And
Right.
he
And it
wants,
is what Wei Yi played. And Gukesh instantly played F4. And
Can't
I
wait,
think
we'd have to pause. I'm giving myself and Merle's credit. We were like, Rook F5, get out of here. What kind of chess player are you, buddy? You play GF, every Russian schoolboy knows.
Well, it's definitely much hotter this way, Jesse. I'm surprised personally a little bit.
I thought
Um,
the other position, white was just going to squeeze him all day long. Okay, so H6 is
H6,
Merle's idea, and now he wants E4.
yeah. And I wasn't sure how to respond to this. It had occurred to me before when we were
Now,
tooling around here.
I'll say some things that are obvious to me. It is as long as the white knight can find a home, then this is bad because we are connecting our queen in this file here. So, but our knight does have to find a home. So let's just assume this one for a second. And then I feel like the basic move could be knight e1 to c2 to e3.
Or knight H2 to G4 to
Yeah.
just sort of
So
You know-
mildly similar, yeah.
similar, but just with more, I don't know, incidental poking from G4.
Be careful, Bruce. This is a family show. You can't be talking about incidental poking.
I'm
buddy.
very family here.
In any case, both of those things, I don't like black's position. This bishop feels
So-
dead.
Let's go knight H2, and Merles wants to play C4 to try and lock us out.
Okay, I'll continue the show. Rook AE1, also intending bishop B1, looks fine too.
We go knight G4.
No, let's start with rook AE1. That's just more simple chess.
But I want to go F5, F6, Jesse.
We'll get there. We're just asking him a question. We're like, what do you want to do about your coconut?
Okay, just a coconut question.
Just-
Maybe,
just a-
maybe he just plays something to D4, some kind of little tactic.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if he could play knight D4, that would really be the greatest. But then we go knight e3, huh?
All right.
So it's got to be bishop d4.
But bishop d4, then your f5 is really going to start, I don't know, There's going
Yeah.
to be some questions. And white, look at white's pieces. They're all doing great. This knight, a chump.
That f pawn is amazing, Jesse. You have to move it at the right time because you don't
Yeah.
really want black to play knight e5.
Or queen g5 or something. But yeah, that pawn.
But
Look at our business. We're all lined up here, Bows.
yeah.
Okay, hold
we've
on.
got three pawns in front of our king and they've got one, right? So if we can time it right, f5, f6, and we just kick their can around.
Let me try to defend his honor again here for a
Yeah.
second. So you're saying maybe queen f2, h4.
Mm-hmm. Or e2, h5, right? Either one. And Wei Yi's behind on time now.
Yeah. All right, there's several ideas that are natural for black here, like queen e8, g6 is a simple thought.
Mm-hmm. I like
Well, actually, one bummer about queen e8 is then he's got this not to take on a6, but rather to do the implantation. Would help. But it says I'm reconnected. Let me refresh. Oh, it disconnected again. Oh, it says reconnection success. It's just losing its mind.
Oh my goodness.
This never happens. It happened last. Maybe it's something to do with the Zoom or something. I don't know. All right, we are back, my friends. We're back. Okay. The Boomer GM has no idea why this happens.
Weird.
Well, dude, Mr. Wei Yi, this is called time trouble, my friend.
Yeah, what move are they on, Jesse?
Oh, a move has been played. C4.
Ho! Striking. That is consequential.
It looks a little desperate. Looks a little desperate to me. Well, David, let's ask the first question first. So takes.
Okay.
Oh, and he instantly took. So at least I got the first question right. All right, so let's just say why this feels desperate. A, you're giving up a pawn, and maybe he has some crazy idea that I don't see yet. But B, like we said in the last variation, it's a strategic win for white to gain communication to the d5 square.
Yep. Gukesh wasn't too surprised by this move, Jesse. He's bashed out another one. And Wei Yi's thinking, this is crazy. What happened?
Well, I feel like he was feeling some strategic despair. All right, bc4 happens. Now, all right, first question. What's wrong, if anything, with bishop c4? We do not have to play bishop c4. Let me stress. We don't have to.
Maybe knight a5, trying to get your light squares
I
from
guess, dude, but bishop a2, and then what are you really doing to me?
Knight b3.
Okay. That's all I can come up with too, but it looks... All right, let's give it a try. It doesn't look right to me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of scary things here for black. Now, there is... I don't even know what your threat is. Because, see, whenever you take this thing... Sure, you might get some queen b6 stuff, but yeah, you lose all of your business.
Yeah. Gukesh took the pawn, but he did think about it for half a minute.
All right, let's flip it back. All right, so besides...
Man, this is super committal. He sacked a full pawn, Jesse, plus opening the d file.
All right, ef4 happened. All right, so the intention must be to play knight e5 to get a tempo on the bishop.
He's in a flurry of tacticos here.
Okay, maybe this isn't so dumb.
Yeah, Wei Yi was thinking for a reason. This could be dangerous. Knight Knight on g5 is hanging. Not a lot of choices.
All
On
right,
queen
boss.
f4, there's also rook b2, boss.
How about I just go back like a normal person? Knight f3.
Knight f3, normal move.
Oh, you know what you have here, though? If nothing else, you go knight e5,
Mm-hmm.
bishop a2, and then if you don't find anything else, you take, and then check and take some b2. After which you at least have good play.
Hang on. So I take on d5 with my queen, I think, in this scenario.
Okay, but you know, then I'm going to.
I have a reason, right? I want to dodge your queen.
Rook b2. That's no bueno. Got to believe in black here, right?
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay, time out. Let's go back. So ef4. Okay.
Actually, in your position after rook b2, I could play knight d4 and keep. I mean, I don't know that either player's clearly better there. It looks like a battle.
Let's just see if we can come up with another idea. Oh wait, dude moved. He played knight f3. He did play knight f3. I called another one.
Yep.
All right, so our thought here is that knight e5 is the move.
Mm-hmm.
If knight e5, d e5, we just believe in black. So is there another move besides bishop a2?
There's pawn to b3.
That's an ugly move.
I know. But sometimes you got to look at everything with these guys, you know?
Uh-huh.
Like what Wei Yi just did with c4 was slightly off our radar, but we can see it's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, dude. No, that was dynamic, good chess.
That ef4 move to pop the knight on g5 and get things going here with b2 loose. I mean...
And let's just give Wei Yi some credit. So he tanked on gf5 and c4.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he found this dynamic conception here.
Yeah. Yeah, it was super unobvious. I mean, it's an open mind that sees and finds this.
All right, let me try to defend White's honor here. So bishop a2. Now, there might be something else besides bishop d5, but I'm not seeing anything. Right, so let's first start there. Bishop d5. I want to do this bishop d5 thing.
Okay.
Check to the miserable king.
Mm-hmm.
Do I know where to put it? Let's put it on a light square.
Can you block rook f2, Jesse, and defend your...
Oh, good question. I hadn't even considered that.
You wanted to defend your honor. How about your coconut?
Hey, Cry, why aren't you defending your coconut? That's a very important and simple move. Simple question to ask.
Yeah.
Bows.
To me, it drains black of any meaning in life. Without White's coconut, there's no joy.
Yeah, his system of a down is all shattered.
Yeah.
Now, it's got to be said that while White's better, this position here would be very hard to win for White. Maybe impossible.
Maybe impossible, but I mean, from like a human practical perspective, there's not that much joy for black. White's bishop's better than yours. White's king's better than yours.
In fact, maybe if you wanted to be a jerk about it, you play queen e3 first. And you just say, boss, I'm going to play bishop e5 next.
Right, so you go queen e3, rook e1, queen d2, rook d2, and then plug.
And plug, that's right.
Wow. And yeah, it does seem harder for White to win the endgame. But maybe with rook d5, a5, I can get one coconut.
Maybe you play queen c2. Say no trade for you, buddy.
Yeah. And yeah.
Okay, dude is tanking a little bit here on knight f3.
Yeah, interesting.
I think the rook f2 thing is critical, Dave. Rook f2. I at first I was just assuming that something happened. So knight a5 happened. He went knight a5, Mr. Bowes.
Man, and we thought EF4 was to get that square.
Well, the fact that he thought 4 minutes there suggests that maybe he's not entirely sure if WTF is happening in the position, right?
Yeah, okay. It took me a moment to parse that sentence.
So, Bishop A2.
Right. Now you can't play my B3 move, Jesse. I think that's why you played knight E5, because B3 was too strong.
Oh,
otherwise.
B3 was too strong.
Yeah.
He could play B3, I guess, if he really wanted to after knight
No,
A5
now
too.
now there's knight B3. I mean,
Oh, I see. Okay.
yeah.
This definitely looks very nice for white. Gukesh is thinking, you know the terrible thing, David, is maybe he's pondering, well, you can't play B3, so you gotta play Bishop A2, buddy.
I mean, technically, you could play B3, knight B3, queen F4, knight A1, knight G5 or something. I don't know.
Come on.
If somebody's really trying to look at every move, but to me, it's bishop A2, yeah.
David, you've been covering this. I'm assuming the time control is 90 plus 30?
Yes, and there's more time at move 40.
Like 20 minutes or something?
A half an hour.
Half an hour. Okay.
There was a game last round, right before the rest day, right? Which was Sanan Sugirov against Arjun Erigaisi.
Mm-hmm.
And on move 40, Arjun played this move rook b3, defended by an a pawn between white's rook on c3 and pawn on a3, and white has to choose, do I trade the rooks? Do I avoid the trade? Do I trade on b3 or let him trade on c3? And the guy thought his entire 30 minutes, basically. He thought down to 5 minutes for the second time control. Right there, it was gone.
So, all right, David, I'm going to make the first obvious move, okay? I'm going to play knight f4, and let's see if you can find some way to generate play here.
Now that we know queen b6 doesn't win the pawn.
Well, I think here, let me do a basic variation we got to check here. So queen b6,
yeah,
rook f2, and the brutalistic rook b8.
Sure. I mean, we blockaded that b pawn for a reason.
And the issue for Mr. Tissue, I think, is on knight d3. Maybe you live with bishop c4. Now, there are a lot of questions here.
Right.
One is, are you really threatening anything? We cannot play king h1, though. That's a bummer. So maybe white is in a little bit of a tangle.
Mm-hmm. Okay, my instinct would be rook a f1 right here. Just tangling myself more. Why am I doing that? Because I'm terrible. Okay, take it back. Take it back.
At some point, we want to play knight d4. We can't do it yet, but at some point, I think we want to do it.
I feel very tangled here, Jesse. I'm on.
Ooh, and I want to just do another variation here. How dumb is that? Maybe dumb. I just wanted to look. That's nothing special. I'm going to take that. I'm going to do what I should do. Okay, things have happened here. Knight f4. Oh, dude, I'm good. I called it again, buddy. Oh, the dojo's rolling today. Queen b6, and we're looking at rook f2 now. That is our call.
So Gukesh is hungry for coconuts today. Like, every time there's a pawn to capture,
you can tell he's getting stronger because he's playing my moves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah, he could be world champion if he keeps following in your shoes.
Now, one thing I want to add to this is on rook f2, my first thought was that bishop h6 wouldn't work because of this, but then king g7. But now I'm seeing also that on bishop h6, I have that move, queen d4.
Queen d4. Yeah.
But in these other variations, well, okay, yeah. So I think the main variation, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, queen d4, knight d4, bishop f4, knight b3, huh? Bishop e3, knight d4. Okay, okay, I see.
There might be more magic at the end of that tale, but I think this is our critical position where now, well, we got, so right, now for us it's easy to play rook f2, but Gukesh is just looking if there's some nasty chop that he's going to fall into after pinning his rook.
Mm-hmm.
So, my friends, we are up a pawn and we have the better structure, but maybe our knights are trumps. One thing just long term, though, is eventually my knight's going to come to d4. And once it does, my friends, the life is going to fade.
I would say one thing, these knights seem as good as bishops in the middle game. In the end game, they might fall off and become chumps. But in the middle game, they've got enough squares and they're near enough to the black king. And they're blockading these pawns. They're fine in the middle game.
Well, and another basic way of saying it is that winning this pawn for black it's cool to win a pawn, but it would really extend the scope of the bishop on g7. Then the bishops would be able to light you up.
Yeah.
So that's why, unless we have some amazing trick here, dude needs to play rook f2 pronto. That's right, Jake. Now I would chump GM here would play rook f2 pretty quick but there's an element of trust there. You're just like, I'm not going to get wasted by some weird thing,
Yeah. I agree with Joao's comment in YouTube, which is that they're both quite low on time for how many difficult moves there are to play here.
Oh yeah. Okay, rook f2. He got another move right.
Yeah. Give him a dojo rating, Jesse. Where would you estimate Gukesh is at right now?
All right, so let me think about this. Rook b8 was the most plausible move to me. I do think if it's white's move, that knight d4 is probably unpleasant. But just even a move like rook e1 or something, it's, white just needs to solidify their business here. Right. So let's just say the obvious. Black has one move to create some kind of drama on white, or else like the pressure is too much. So if we imagine rook fd8, David, do you see another move besides knight d3? I don't.
Yes, there are moves other than knight d3 here, I think. I was thinking, but my move wasn't any playable. I don't know. I had been thinking of some knight move towards the king side, but rook b2 is pretty rough.
Yeah. All right, so let's look knight d3, and then the question is, what could black do? At the moment, I'm not seeing anything besides bishop c4.
No, I mean, bishop c4 seemed pretty good. Jesse, I just checked board 3 for a second. Arjun Erigaisi against Boo. And that game is bonkers, but perhaps about to end in perpetual check.
Okay. Are there any other...
Just an update for those caring about the match results. There was an early draw on board 2. Yu Yang Yi with white against Pragnananda. So if Boo draws that game, China's doing all right. I think black against Erigaisi on board 3 was going to be their toughest matchup.
Now, one sad move here would
E1?
be knight e1. Now, as abject as it looks, the simple point though is that he can't, if he doesn't crack the B2 square, we will have time to reorganize our business. Rook B8, and here's a move that I did not call,
Yeah.
Rook D1.
Yeah.
So
Which might say he's ready to trade everything off.
well, 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 let's ask a question, Mr. Bruce. What's wrong with
Yeah.
Rook B2?
Very good question, Jesse. I think everything would come off the board. Um, White would trade on B2, take on D6. Black would take on C3. Probably white would take on A6.
Oh, okay, let's take a look. So pop, pop. Let's take this one. And we'll follow your lead with Rook D6. Now, I just want to say superficially, it just feels like white's got nothing, but maybe I could change my mind on that. Yeah, maybe this is a little bit hard to deal with. In general, the bishops now, when the board opens like this, it's usually bad news.
Right. But if black has no pawns on the queen side, it just means that black can hold, not that they can win. I mean, if white takes the A pawn, I mean, there's no losing.
And I guess the argument could be made that, like, if we imagine that F pawn being back at G6 or somewhere else, that it wouldn't be so bad, but that pawn will ultimately be our main target.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, let me say this, Mr. Bruce, like, let's just assume knight d3 does work for a second. Like, the instinct, I think, behind rook d1 is to say that on knight d3, I have to go into contortions, and with rook d1, I'm just going to be in a situation where you are suffering and I'm not.
Yeah. And he's saying, if you don't pull the trigger on this rook b2 ending, I'll play queen d6.
Right.
I've got no problem coming forward here. And the move knight d4 is going to be getting better, right? With the rook on d1, there's going to be more scenarios where you can play knight d4. And if black trades on b2, you trade to the ending and go knight f5. And again, d6 is in your sights. If black trades on d4 first, at least it's not the bishop anymore. You take back with the queen, you trade stuff, you take d6. So I think there's a lot of defensive safe ground for Wei Yi, a lot of endgames where he can draw thanks to the power of the bishop, but he's got to pick between the options.
I think in this position that we end up getting, like, let's say I play bishop c3. I'm sure there's other moves, but let's just say this goes down. I think if you wanted to make an argument that black has real grief, it's that white will eventually be able to create drama against the black king. Is that true? I don't know, but I think that would be the argument.
Yeah, I mean, there's this factor, sometimes the white king could hide on h2 from the black rook, right? The black king can't laterally hide from the white rook other than putting a bishop in the way, which is then pinned and becomes a whole deal.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay. We might see this position.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been trained to think that black is just fine. I've just been trained when I see the bishops like this, dude. I'm like, oh, I've seen this movie before.
Well, the basic thing to do here would be to play rook a2 and
Good.
try and take that a pawn off the board, right?
Yeah.
But what white's going to do is something like rook a8, and we have to be tactically alert as black.
I believe he's going to hold this here. But because, like, what? Like rook a8? Okay. I don't think there's a threat immediately.
maybe not.
Right.
Well, no, maybe there is. I could play knight d5, and then after you move your bishop, I go knight e7.
Okay.
There, I came up with a threat.
All right, so we'll play. And maybe on king g7, there's something like knight h5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Ah, dude's thinking about it. But what else is he gonna do? Wow.
I mean, he put all his heavy pieces there to take on b2. So to some extent, if he doesn't take on b2, yeah, what is he doing, right?
Right. Yeah, no.
Maybe he has a move bishop e5 here. Could be a move.
Well, bishop e. Okay, so the thought there is that then knight e3, there's bishop g3.
Sorry, I'm saying in the live position way back here, right? Bishop e5 maybe.
Yeah, bishop e5,
E5.
and then I'm saying if then knight d3, there's bishop g3 to save his soul.
Yeah. Gotcha. They are far from time control, Simon. They've got 13 moves to make. 6 and 10 moves, 6 and 10 minutes respectively. So it's, yeah, I mean, I would think even for top players, it's a bit of pressure.
Well, bishop e5 is maybe.
This is going to be a very close match as well for anyone worrying about the teams. We've got draws on boards 2 and 3. We've got an equalish position on board 4, but I would say Wang Yue, who, by the way, is 4 out of 4 so far, another perfect score. Wang Yue, maybe just like a drop worse against Hari Krishna in an opposite colored bishop position. Close match. So Liart says my bishop e5 move might lose to a knight g6 check.
I was funny. I was looking at it, but I don't see it. That's funny. I was just calculating that.
Correctamundo. Yeah, so he wants to play knight takes e5 and queen h6 check.
Oh,
And
but
rook
this is
d7
our
again.
problem. Yeah. Oh, good move.
Rook b2 has been played.
Rook b2's played, right?
I
Too
think
long. You thought too long on that one, buddy.
He wasn't super pumped, but it was the last. But if he's going for it, it's one of his last really tough tactical decisions before time control. So.
Oh, I disagree, man. After rook takes d6, you need a plan.
Mm-hmm.
You need a plan, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, Gukesh makes me so happy.
Okay, now let's say, for example, after rook takes d6, black can consider both a5 and bishop c3.
A5, yeah.
Now, the obvious question mark after a5 is on knight d4. What are you doing?
Yeah. But I think it really shows our different temperaments, Jesse. Against a5, the first thing I'd be checking is this move rook d8, because that move is just evil. It's really trying to end you.
Yeah.
You know, like if you go, like it defends my c3 pawn, right?
Yeah. No, rook d8 is very
bishop
strong.
c3, knight d5, done. And it prepares moves like knight g5. I mean, it can get really hot.
And you can't even play bishop a5 here. You can't even touch the rook's coconuts.
No coconut touching.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is a hard momentito for dude here.
Mm-hmm. Liart says we probably can't play the knight d4 move because of bishop e5. Just some unfortunate geometry at work.
And Mr. Proust, we also have the very simple question that in addition to rook a6, that move might also be annoying. Now, this one, there's a lot more to think about because bishop a5 is in the air.
Mm-hmm.
But the argument could be that you're still getting touched.
Yeah. I can tell you I would take the A pawn for sure.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
I'm just too terrified of bishops in an endgame. If I don't win with a tactic here, then I'm gonna lose now.
yeah. I'm just saying though, he's thinking about it. He's thinking
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Oh, he's thinking a little too long, buddy.
Rook. Let me see if I can read Simon's variation. King F2, Rook D1. Oh, and then Rook G8, check knight C3, huh? Is that the idea, Simon? Okay. Here's a variation, Jesse, which you can maybe give us a GM evaluation
Okay.
for. A5 was played.
Oh, it was
So let's
played?
go.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
A5 was played.
So let's go Rook D8.
Mm-hmm.
Bishop takes C3, like a calculating fiend that Simon is. We go knight D5.
And now Rook D1, Rook B1,
Yeah.
D1.
Gives the check and goes to B1. And
Let's say I go F2. Oh, no. I'm sorry. This is not going to work.
come towards the action. Why not?
Well, because Rook D1 and I have problems. What am I going to do?
Well, you have Rook G8, Knight C3, I think is the position I want you to evaluate for us.
Oh, buddy. Wow.
And I definitely need my king in the center if I'm going to risk this position. Yeah,
This one
D3.
seems lost to me, dude.
For who?
For black.
For black?
If your pawn were on G6, I would evaluate it differently, but you're going to lose that coconut.
So, I mean, you're the first step for black is like Rook D3, A4.
But I'm going to win that F5 pawn,
Okay.
I think. Okay, let's see if things have
He's
happened.
taking on C3, Jesse.
But he has to. He's got to do something. The king, it's also like, let's get the king out.
Okay, but he's just walked into Knight D5. Like, I mean, he's going to this variation right now, Jesse.
What did you want him to do, though?
I don't know, man.
What did you want him to do?
I think I would have taken on C3 and let white take the A6 pawn rather than give white a tempo to play this Rook D8 thing. I mean, he's playing straight into that two-knight position that you just said was lost.
You could. You are going to have practical chances. And if I'm black, though, I still need a move. Because, yeah, what am I supposed to do? Maybe Rook A2 would be the other thought. But yeah, Rook A2 could be the other thought.
And then if Knight G5, then Bishop C3.
One brutality, though, in that variation of Rook A2, let's just say I put my king here for half a second. And now there's no way out. Your rook is hosed.
Right.
So that was unfortunate. So Rook A2, that's what I'm saying. If I'm black, like, what am I supposed to... Rook C2? It still looks really Funkasville. Oh, another problem, actually, too. Let's say I move like Rook C2. Now when I go Knight D5,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah,
do
Knight
this,
D5
at
just
worst
kills
case
you.
scenario, I just play C4. And then
Yeah,
what do you do?
or Knight D4. But yeah, I mean, this is just...
Maybe Knight D4. He does have a check there and stuff. But yes, this is terrible. Okay, so he took, and now Gukesh is analyzing Knight D5.
Yeah. Surely he planned Knight D5 already. He's doing a double check because, or, going deeper because he's got a little bit of time to do it.
He's also, obviously, I'm sure he might have another idea.
Okay, yeah. Is there an idea other than Knight D5?
Right.
Because if that's the only idea, then what are you stopping and looking at? Good day to you, Cross Online. I'm feeling very optimistic, but curious what Gukesh is looking at.
All right, let's go down the road. Knight d5,
Mm-hmm.
check to the miserable king.
Yeah.
King f2. If there's a reason to put it on h2 later, we could move it there. All right, this is all forced because now rook takes d5 as a threat. So we got to say snip. Now, black needs to win my a pawn.
Yeah.
So if we imagine rook here, knight here, looks lost. You're not going to win my a pawn.
Right, because you go a4 and rook b3, but there's knight fd4.
Well, right, or just at any point I'm going to play knight fd4.
Yeah.
So intuition is that that's lost. Now maybe there's some way you can like put your pawn on f4 and mess with me, you know.
It's not Wei Yi, it's Wei Yi. Just kidding. Sorry.
Now I want to stress this looks ugly, but also this stupid looking move does a similar deal.
Rook
Now,
a1 is similar.
well, it's the same idea. You put a fortress on the rook, and then you try to say we're going to excavate him. Now, maybe you could say as black that somehow, like let's say knight b5. Let's just bring the king up for half a second.
Right.
Maybe you could say, oh, so I'm going to live
No,
through
not
this.
there, not there, not there. It has to be g7.
What was the deal? What was wrong with king f7?
Knight e5.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
So the problem could be now whenever I go king e2, you say I have rook g3 and you got nothing.
Yeah. Gukesh has been tanking here, right? 5-6 minutes. Merle says he could be considering knight e6 here to keep the black king on h8 and play for checkmate. But I think as long as black plays h6, there won't be a checkmate.
It is very hot. I mean,
Although if you play h6, then white can play knight h4. When the king tries to come up, you go rook d7 check and knight g6.
Jesse Febb, thank you for rating us. I assume Jesse Febb is actually playing in Budapest for the South African team.
Should be.
Yeah. Okay, so this looks very dangerous for black. Dude is calculating it. Now, one thing is, since we get a lot of moves that are kind of forcing, that black will make time, well, they'll both make time pressure. Gukesh, he's thinking about something magical with 96 or I don't know what, man. And then I guess the other weird move is, okay, moves were finally made, knight d5. Hey, buddy, you could have done it right away.
Yeah, you can always do that in hindsight, Jesse, but dude's got to think at some point.
I think, though, like, if you don't see another idea, what you should not do is then start trying to evaluate the end game, right? You shouldn't try, if this is it, is that end game.
If that's all you got to do it.
Yeah.
If you've got a couple options, then you can knock yourself out.
Yeah.
maybe he saw a different option than we did, Jesse. I think for how long he thought on that move, he did see another option. Maybe the 96 thing was interesting.
Okay.
On
King F2 is played.
yeah. I'm less confident than you about winning that night ending, but it was interesting to hear that the eval was so clear to you.
By the way, I feel it's winning, but that's just my first take. I mean, I know
Yeah.
those positions, like, in my practical experience of them, like, both sides will make multiple mistakes because it's so tricky. All right.
Yeah.
Rook D1. And we're going to get it. Yeah. If you want to get good at chess, come to the dojo, man. We had this position on the board like a half an hour ago.
True.
Okay. Rook G8. It happened. Yeah, so they're going to easily make the time control because they're getting 30 seconds every move.
Yeah.
Knight C3, of course.
And the rook could go to A1.
Good, A4, right. And Rook A1, then the point would be that if A4, Rook A3.
Yeah. So I think rook A1 also forces knight B5, and the rook might like that corner better than D3. It's got that checking distance, right, to harass the white king and the G pawn.
We might see the two knights mate today, bud.
Oh my goodness.
We could see it today.
Oh, we'd have to stick around for a while, but that would be the icing on any cake.
It wouldn't be that long. I mean, they're going to get a couple extra, they're going to get an hour added, and they're going to have no time besides that.
But the two knights mate would involve first a lengthy process to get to it, right? Like first white has to work one or two of the black pawns off the board, push a pawn down the board, the rook sacks for it, leave black with one pawn. And then as we saw, it can take 40, 45 moves to do it, which is another 45 minutes of added increment.
Okay, one basic thing I wanted to say is that Rook A1, I think Knight B5 is a critical move, but I just want to look at A4 for a second. Just imagine, I don't even know where to put this bad boy yet. But basically I wanted to, bear with me a second. So in this position, we're going to win the F pawn. If we had a bishop and knight against this bad boy over here, then I would feel like white had good chances. But with the knights, they're such chumps dealing with that passed pawn that I don't like it. So the basic thing that I want to say there is that if Rook C1 was played, that white needs to absolutely hold on to the pieshka.
Yeah.
Now, we were anticipating either Rook D3 or Rook A1. Do we understand Rook C1?
Not sure what the difference is between that and A1. I really don't know.
Maybe
There is an idea of immediately checking on the second rank, but it was also possible from A2, right? With the idea of rook
Exactly,
A2
right.
check, king G3, F4 check, trying to get a pawn off the board. I don't know that rook C1 has anything to do with that, but those are the...
So that was apparently his intention. Now, my only thought here is that maybe on king G3 he wants F4.
And I think if that happens, white might actually need to take it.
Well, we talked about, the two knights. Let me show you a way in which it could happen.
Okay.
Let's say you take it,
Yeah.
and let's say I start maneuvering over. Let's say you win the pawn. Let's just say for whatever reason I have to give you the pawn because my king won't, I have to bring the king over anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the dojo, my friend. Winning position for white because we stopped the pawn.
Yeah.
Winning. Known winning position, but this one would be really hard to
Oh,
prove.
we have to switch the knight and king blockade? I think also black has a draw with rook h5.
In any
in
case,
this
I'm
line,
just
but
I'm
yeah.
just like giving you a sense of how, because the dynamic after f4 is going to be like that. I don't want to play king h2. And if I take, then it's going to be hard not to give up the h pawn because the king is going to have to run over, as well as the knight is going to have to run over to win the a pawn. And so there's a variety of ways that could shake down, but the dynamic, I think, is going to be the same because I don't see how we keep the h pawn ultimately.
Well, Gukesh played a beautiful move, I think, Jesse. Rather quickly, he chose king f1.
Yeah, he's not interested in that f4 thing. That makes sense.
Doesn't want to do any trades. What he wants to do is put the f3 knight on d4, and then if you harass his king, he's going to walk up the f file to some good spots.
Right, and here, check. We have knight d2, and I think we're starting to control you. I think. Even there's some questions, but.
Yeah, starting to get the rook out of your position, right, with king d3 coming.
I was still uncertain about it. Like here, here, and I gotta wonder about rook g1. So king f1. Let me stress, my practical experience, both sides are going to make some mistakes here. This is something I feel like I know.
Mm-hmm.
King f7 is definitely the most natural move.
Wei Yi's under a minute, so he does not have all the time in the world here for these choices. 3 moves to make. I mean, he's not going to flag, but there could be some imprecision, potentially.
I think this king f1 was a huge concession, David. Like maybe it was a good move, but I think it's a big concession. Like let's say I go king f7.
Mm-hmm. Knight f to d4.
All right, rook b2.
Knight f5.
All right, you know what you keep tricking me with these things. I don't want to play king g7. I'm just putting the king to f6. I'm not doing anything fancy.
That's the point of knights, man.
Don't lose on time, buddy.
I still go knight d4 with your king
Yeah.
there. I don't care where your king is. I'm going knight d4. Whew, 6 seconds left when he played king f7, Jesse.
King f7. Maybe that was inaccurate.
Here I take on f5 again.
Dude, he might have missed the trick that I just fell for. Because knight d4, what are you going to do? He might have missed it, dude.
He could give a check and then play king f6, right?
Okay, but
that
then that's
does
progress.
release the
That's
beast.
progress, yeah.
Release the beast.
Then the concession I made with king f1 no longer feels so bad.
Actually, the king can even go to e2. He doesn't even have to go to f2. He can cover a little bit of that distance there because we got c2 covered. It's premature to say a GM's missing forks, Moscow. It's premature.
Well, okay, let's try to defend black's honor. So rook b2 takes this thing, right?
Yeah. You're defending black's honor, but once again, not his coconut.
Well, I just realized, I thought maybe I could check you to death, but I think you come here, and then what do I got? Nothing.
Yeah. If you attack my g pawn, I'm comfortable pushing it now.
Knight fd4 And dude, I think he blundered that business, and now he plays
Check
rook
has been
c1.
played.
Now
Check has
king
been
e2.
played.
We're in charge after king e2, boss.
Ay, ay, ay. On board 4, Merles is right. Hari Krishna is now down a pawn in a rook ending against Wang Yue. Does not look great for India on board 4.
King e2 was played, and now king f6. I'm going to go ahead and say it's obvious to me that he missed it, because king g7, you could have played rook b2, keeping the king at bay, and now a totally
No,
different
you couldn't,
situation.
Jesse, because I still took on f5 and it was checked to g7 directly.
Oh no.
There was no square. That's why I was saying I wasn't just doing a trick on you. That's literally what knights do, right? Is they cover an extra square often in endgames because of the king.
All right, Gukesh needs one move to make.
Yeah. I just don't know that any of these positions are winnable. That's what I don't know. That is what I don't know.
Yeah, he needs a tricky move here. So we'll say the obvious. If king d3, you got to contend with rook g1.
Mm-hmm. And if a4, black has rook c4. Wait a minute. A4, rook c4, king d3, Jesse. Rook a4, knight c3. Oh no, the rook slips away to a1.
I got
I
some
almost
slippers.
trapped him.
But I
Trapped
also had rook b4 there too, boss.
Yeah,
Oh
but
no,
then
then
I
you had
have
knight
time to play
d5.
knight c.
Knight d5.
Then I've got
yeah.
time for knight c3, and yeah. So
Okay.
that was my ploy. I wanted to trap the Rookovich.
See, this is where I'm weak, dude. If I had 48 seconds left, I'd be so nerve-wracked. And this dude is just,
Yeah.
he's used to it. He's going to go down to 1 second just like Wei Yi did, dude.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's dirty rook.
I guess king e3 is a normal move.
Pretty weird, though.
Yeah, king e3 is a fine move, I guess. If we just need to move something. Which it's feeling like he needs to move something.
But I think the problem is, like, king e5 is a substantial improvement of the position.
Oh, he played a consequent move, Jesse. He didn't just play a bathroom move because he had 10 seconds on the clock. Knight d6.
Okay, but I got a basic question. If I play king e5,
Yep.
I don't know. How do you take it? Oh, here's a great variation. Look at this one. Knight here. Bear with me a second. Rook a1. Knight c2. Rook a. Bang. Or knight e3. Either knight e3 is a little bit more. Look at that bad boy. Ooh, buddy. Toast.
That holds it all together.
Dude, knight d6. He thought, and he... Oh, and
Dude,
black still has to make a move. Black still has to make a move,
on a move
dude.
40?
Black still has to make a move. This is it. Oh, that's a brutal move to face in the last of time pressure. Ooh, knight d6, dog. Okay. Rook c3 is a thought.
Gukesh is saying, like, I know Ding was too afraid to play today, but I want him to watch and get even more afraid. All right, 3 seconds left, and he played rook c3.
Rook c3. Good. I think that was correct. All right, now one thing about Chess.com is it's showing that they still have seconds left, but we're both assuming that they actually get another 30 minutes here, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna take a small break. I'll be right back.
That's reasonable. That is reasonable. You guys know what I mean? How on the last move of time control, you don't have time to think of something controversial like knight d6, or you don't have the confidence to calculate it, so you just play a little move like, king e3, king f2, king f3, something like that. I could never imagine playing a real chess move with a couple seconds, like Gukesh did there. That was a crazy moment to me personally. So far away from what I could do. This rook c3 move, though, I think is a strong move, and I'm not sure what he does next with that. I'm not really sure how to hold on to the a pawn, because if a4, there's rook a3, and if he moves a knight to b5, then knight d6 was pointless, right? So, not sure.
David, tell me what's happening, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, Gukesh is thinking, I don't see a good way to hold the a pawn other than knight b5. And, yeah, that's where we're at. He might have to choose between trading the f pawn for the a pawn, or just coming back on what he just said with knight b5. Why would people unsubscribe from the dojo? I don't know. Other things to do? Switch from chess to knitting?
Easy, Bruce, easy.
What? What? Knitting's probably an interesting activity as well. What? Oh, I'm out of water. No water. Looks like Iran is winning their match against Vietnam, for those wondering. Iran is up 2-1 with a good position. Abdusattorov beat Korobov, so Uzbekistan is up a game against Ukraine right now. And looks like they don't have any winning chances on the two remaining boards, so I would expect Uzbekistan's winning that match. And Serbia has won the match against the Netherlands, even though the result's not official yet. I can guarantee it. They're up 2-0 with a drawn king and pawn ending on one board.
One bummer here about this rook c3 is like if we find nothing better to go back, like knight b5, black has an option of both rook g3 and rook c1. And rook g3 could be potentially pretty annoying. Yeah.
Honest doubter, we do have 100 subs to our channel. But in terms of focusing on only doing this, I think it's more fun for us to do a variety of things, and one of our core offerings is analyzing viewer games, looking at games that are at a 600 level and a 800 level and a 1500 level, etc. So I don't think we want to stop doing that for people here.
Well, and also, let's just make the announcement. David, to get me to do this show, which is normally the grad show window, that poor dude
Yeah.
is gonna have to pay later and do the grad show himself later
Yep.
on today.
I will be doing the grad show. Under 1000s. So as long as people have uploaded some games, we'll be looking at a bunch of games from players in the 0 to 1,000 cohorts, the various cohorts. From 0 up to 1,000 today. But you think we'd get 100 times as many subs if all we did was non-engine commentary? Like if we were just focused on something, maybe. Maybe.
We've been at this a long time, and we've had a lot of commentary without subs, but we've never cracked. I think when we started Chess Dojo, we had more ambitions of like, let's get 1 million subscribers, let's get YouTube, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and it's been tough, dude. It's been kind of a hard road. I'm like, oh wait, Rook C3, Knight 6B5. So right, he's just like, let's repeat and see what black does. I
Yeah.
don't have clear notions for white after either Rook C1 or Rook G3.
Yeah, me neither. It looks, I mean, I just don't see how to make progress, period. Yeah.
Well, all right, David, bear with me a second. So let's say Rook C1. At some point, it would be cool if I could play A4. So let me just check this one. Now you got a variety of moves here. Rook G1, Rook A1, King E5. What would you like to try?
I suppose King E5.
Yeah. Let me stress, this could become double-edged too, because if I go for it, let's say I go for it with Knight B3. Let's just play out.
Wait, hang on. Did you
Yeah.
allow me Rook C4? How do we?
Oh, true enough. I was Rook C4, simple enough.
Yeah.
So I can't even do
tried
that.
this once and then given up on it earlier.
Okay, so let's try that again. Rook C1. Even with allowing that, I still didn't see how I was going to make progress.
Right.
Well, actually, a similar line could be like this. Knight. No, on Knight B3, Rook B1 is really annoying. Rook C2 is annoying too, but okay, something happened. Rook C1. Okay, so we have a repetition. If Gukesh feels like he has got absolutely nothing here, he could play Knight D6 like a weenie. And all right, David, let me try the ambitious move, King D3. This does involve epic
Giving of the G pawn.
Epic giving of the G pawn.
Okay,
So
so
that's
rook
G1,
G1 is
right?
like the B move.
All right, now I'll play knight B3. So you have a couple different ways to give me the A pawn.
Well, I'll take your G pawn.
Okay.
Will that successfully give you the A pawn?
Well, you could also play A4 and then take the G pawn.
Yeah.
I think you should let's just say you go take my H pawn, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if I'm already on the king side, I might as well take everything there.
So something like this.
Okay.
Oh, the heat's on.
Yeah. So my F pawn is way less dangerous than my H pawn.
Well, eventually your H pawn will be a real hell of a drug. Even the move like rook F3 here intending H5, that scares the bejeezles out of me.
Mm-hmm.
You could
Yeah, I
also
want
play
to
rook
move with that
B3
play.
intending H5. So I just wanted to show this variation because to me this feels like white's risking. White's risking it. And let's just say the obvious thing, you guys. Whack. Let's say the obvious thing.
We know about whack. We know about whack.
Okay, so this is our position. Yeah, if we could somehow, if that G pawn weren't vulnerable, it might be a different business, but it's kind of vulnerable.
Yeah, somebody's asking if it's possible China wins this match. Yes, it is possible because this game could end in a draw and the other one they could win. I don't know if the other one's winning or anything like that, but it's conceivable that it could end in a win for them. Yeah. But that one we're not deep into. I don't have a clear evaluation for you, just that it's a rook ending with an extra pawn for China. That was kind of terrifying, Jesse, but I feel like if he wants to win, he maybe has to go for one of those imbalanced positions, right? He had a similar option with knight d6, rook c3. He could take on f5 and give the a pawn.
I'm having a hard time.
Okay, let's try this a4 line again once, Jesse. So
Okay.
a4, rook c4, king d3, rook a4, knight c3, rook a1.
Let's just point out to people there's no this because of knight d5. But there is rook a3. That would also work. But let's just see what your idea is
But
here.
rook a3, I play king c2 to b2 or something, right?
Maybe.
Rook a3, you're right in my...
Let's just see what your idea is here.
Okay, so now I think I want to go like knight d to e2.
But buddy, what are we doing? Why would you rather be black here?
I'm trying to trap your rook.
My rook's not going to be trapped, dude.
I'm trying to trap the
What
rook.
are you doing? My rook's got like 1,000 squares to go to. No.
I'm gonna try and take them all. All.
What are you doing?
And if you push your a pawn to try and queen it, your rook will have less squares.
All right, let's say I give you a couple moves. What do you want to do?
King c2,
And then?
knight c1.
All right, so here's Bruce's dream. He wants to do this to me and lock me in. All right, so just to play.
I'm looking
Play the
far and
card.
wide. I don't know. We don't have to look at it if it's stupid. All right, and when your king gets close, that just gives me some forks, you know? Don't call them cheap if they happen. I've announced what I'm trying to do. All right, king to King to d2.
King to d2.
Yeah, I'm close enough to maybe play knight c1 next from there.
Or h1 too. I don't know, one of those ones.
All right. Rook's trying to get away.
I like h1 even better. Let's go h1.
Okay. h1, huh?
Now I have ideas of f4, f3, and rook h2.
Okay, knight d1. Slowly oozing over.
Well, where is this ooze? Where is this ooze? I don't know what you're doing, buddy. Let's go a4.
A pawn. Trying to distract. Okay, knight b2. It's hard being an ooze.
It's hard being an ooze. Oh, well, dude is thinking about it too. Let's go back here. He's down to 18 minutes. He's trying to find some kind of ooze.
Knight d3. Yeah, I definitely did not succeed. A3 melt like butter. I was going knight c4 and taking the a pawn, and then trying to come back around to the king side with the knights again. I feel like if there were no a pawns on the board, Jesse, I'd be more enthusiastic about trying to slowly take over with my knights. On just one side, 2-on-2. Here, my knights are really being stretched.
I mean, we're close. We just need to, we can't be giving him the monster play. We have to win the stupid pawn. It's fascinating. Like, if you take one of those knights off and put a bishop on almost anywhere, then it's like done. Right? It's just done.
Yeah.
I think he's pondering repeating with knight d6.
And he can ponder several things, right? He could also play knight d6, rook c3, knight f5. Yeah, melt like butter. White, for the moment, is playing for the win. I would say, from Black's perspective, though, you're threatening counterplay in many scenarios, right? And so if White goes for an imbalance, if they trade a pawn on one side for a pawn on the other side to make progress, you quickly adjust to trying to win. He's done something, and it was king e3. The bathroom move suggested half an hour ago during the time scramble.
Hey, maybe there's a little ooze there. Maybe there's a little ooze. Okay.
So yeah.
Melt like butter says this is just a draw. Well,
I mean, an intricate situation that might also be a draw.
the game of chess perhaps on first move is draw, but
Yeah.
All right, so my major concern would be like, well, what am I going to do on a move like rook g1?
Okay.
King f2? I could go back, rook c1 at that point.
We still don't really know why this rook is on c1 instead of a1, right? It hasn't exactly revealed itself. Oh, maybe in some situation to avoid knight b3
Well, also to avoid knight c2.
or knight c2. Right. Actually, c2 would be pretty nice.
Let's show that briefly. So imagine rook g1, king f2, rook here, knight c2. Now, this is not to say that this is winning, but it could become annoying for the rook and the potential of the Prussian ooze. See, the
Right.
Prussian ooze is just to walk over and win your coconut.
Yeah, if you let that king get to c3, it's over.
Yeah.
So now you have to start bailing. You're going like rook b2, rook b1, or rook b8 now to just get out.
And also like this way, I don't know if we're going to catch the rook, but we are going to prevent counterplay for a little while, and maybe our king can come over.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we have king e3. But, you know, let's say rook g1, king f2, we go back to the fiesta and ask, what do you want, boss?
Yeah. What do you want?
Now, here's a
need?
thought. Maybe in this position I can play knight e2. Now you might want to play rook a1. Because if you play rook c2 now, let me just show my thought.
Yeah.
And now I'll have an ooze. This is a cooler construction because then now I prevent you from getting to the g pawn.
Yeah. Also, I feel like if white can move the a pawn to a4,
Yeah.
that's an improvement for white.
Absolutely.
If white can set up with the knights and the pawn on a4, the a5 pawn is more of a sitting duck. You can take it faster in some exchange situation. Your a pawn's one step closer to queening if you trade your g pawn for it. Black doesn't have an a4 move to mess with your pieces. If you sack the a pawn, black's a pawn is slower to queen if you go for the f pawn. So to me, a4 would be a big accomplishment for white.
I think that, I mean, this is really growing on me because what we're doing, I think the main point of king e3 is to say, I want a construction now with knight e2 and knight bc3.
Right, clearing the e2 square for the knight mainly, and the king will be okay somewhere between f3, e3, and d3.
Oh, your bathroom move, dude. See, you just play your first instinct.
Uh, I was so impressed with Gukesh for not playing it. Moscow's major concern is this game going on for another hour just to draw. But see, that would be better than if it finished now and we didn't get to watch it for another hour. Every move is a treasure.
Well, I think as Melt Like Butter was saying, it's just a draw. Now it's like, oh, if you're black and you thought that. I've been in that situation playing some strong person. I'm like, yeah, I got this. This is a draw. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, someone's touching my coconuts.
Yeah.
Black's got a lot of different moves. Another one would be to try to bring this king over to penetrate into b3 or something.
Mm-hmm. But you got to be careful. The closer you get with your king, the more squares the knights cover. So you really got to have control.
Well, one bummer actually with that. Okay, wait a second.
That's plausible. Zenbeat is suggesting maybe you do this rook g1, rook a1 thing, and then against knight c2, you come back to c1.
Okay, but don't I have the ooze there? So like rook g1, here, 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 ooze. Now, okay, maybe we're just going to make a claim.
The idea is that here you still have access to get to g1. We got oozed with the rook on a1, I think.
Okay, but what do you do here? I'm going to play king e2 next.
And then rook g1.
And then knight e1. And I'm going to ooze you.
Oh, knight e1. Oh, it's everything we ever wanted, knight e1. Oh yeah, it doesn't get better than 91. Oh man.
So, I mean, maybe, you know, I'm not saying this is winning for white, but that's the thing that black has to worry about. All right, so let's go back. We're at king e3. This will become a, like I said, be stressed. I've been in this kind of crap before. Don't think of it as it's just, don't say to yourself, this is just a draw. And don't say to yourself, this is objectively a draw and therefore it's going to be a draw. No. People, both sides will make mistakes. You analyze it later. There's the whole thing of analyzing your games. You realize, oh, situation like this, people are making loads of mistakes then. Loads of mistakes. And the other mistake that you'll learn is you shouldn't be taken forever. You shouldn't be taken forever, Bones.
Um, Knight C3, Rook A1's end beat. I think white can play A4. And I'm going to call that, for now, progress with the current understanding of the situation.
All right, we had Rook G1, King F2, and now we're going to see black's intention.
For the moment, I think black should try to keep preventing A4.
Well, I think he needs to prevent knight C2.
Knight C2, Knight C3, and Knight D6. So Rook C1 is the main candidate move here.
And then I'm thinking Rook C1, Knight E2 is the main thing. Okay, so we'll see if the little idea is correct, Amundo.
Right. And then I was thinking Rook A1 there would prevent both A4 and Knight 5 to C3.
Okay, let's try that. So Knight E2 happened. Oh, welcome to the dojo. I called it.
Woo! We're grinding our end games here.
Now, I think you're right, David, that we need to prevent, like just, okay, so let's put Rook A1 on the board.
Now, even there, I've got an evil intention, Jesse. Here's what I'm thinking. I bring the other knight to C3. The wrong knight, you might say.
Oh, no, not this one again. No, don't give me that pawn, boss.
What pawn did I give you?
The one on A3.
No, the other knight.
So knight
You
E2.
want to play knight 5 to C3, but black's preventing it. So I'm saying maybe I go knight E to C3.
Right.
With the idea of playing A4, and then knight D4 to back to E2 to switch places.
No, I think that's the main line. I'm just seeing if we have like Rook A1. Also, so I'm going to say that's like, let's call it the main line. But we have another idea now, because now that there's no Rook G1, I can play King E3. And there's not going to be, I have like, apparently I have solved my business for a second here. And then it's hard for you to make progresso soup.
Yeah.
So that would be like two things that black needs to worry about after Rook A1. I got my knight E2. One thing I feel pretty good about is that on Rook C2, Knight C3, that it looks bad. Right? I'm going to say that looks bad. Because that rook, I've just consolidated like all the weird counterplay that you can throw at me. Yeah. That's what knights want, right? They want to blockade, be super strong. Welcome to the dojo.
Yeah.
And I want to stress again, I feel pretty confident to say that if this pawn were like here or here, it'd be a much less of a hassle. So like ultimately we have to use the two threats, the pawn on A5 and the pawn on F5.
Yeah. The knights are really stretched, though. I mean, if this board were 6 or maybe even 7 rows wide instead of 8, I think we could just take this game. But here is still a long way off to an advantage, right? We're just trying to nebulously rearrange our pieces.
Zenbeat has an interesting point saying, what was he saying? Rook A1, I believe. Wait, let me make sure I get his. Like, I think he's meaning this position. How do we make progress? Well, G3 would be the first question to start asking. It's true, though. Maybe not so easy to make progress. But we're going to have a similar position. I see. So knight C3 would, if I mean, by the way, it's two choices for white after rook A1. This one or king E3.
Yeah.
Both of them seem very dangerous to me.
I'm really loving Liart's idea, which is to play king E3, king D3, and then play the knight from B5 to C3. Because the king will be close enough there. So we could play like king E5 for black for argument's sake. I don't know if it should be something else, but just to put a move on the board. Play knight C3. And if rook A3, king C2. Bye-bye.
That's fun.
Rook A1, knight C1. Job is done.
Rook A1, knight C1, job is done. Actually, this is a fun variation here.
Yeah.
This doesn't work as a knight B3. Otherwise, maybe you could try to like king B2, rook C1 me.
Yeah. You could also go king B2, rook C1, knight E2, king E3. Oh no, doesn't even work.
Well, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was kind of cool too. Yeah, so there's dangers here.
right.
The danger is real for black. Yeah.
King F4 could maybe get us the two knights versus pawn mate still in that position, then beat. I appreciate that.
And my friends, I just want to say we are going to start seeing moves
Whatever the
coming
rook and second,
faster here.
At some point, yeah.
Okay, move has been made.
That's right.
Rook
Zen.
B1.
Knight. Rook B1. So to my chump eye, that allows knight from B5 to C3, or even just directly A4.
Right. Either one of those moves. And so
I'm feeling kind of good about that.
all right, let's try to imagine what black is thinking here. He's got some idea. Okay, I think the claim for black is that if you had gone rook A1, he was afraid of this move cutting me off from the 7th rank. Okay, so instead with rook B1, let's say I go back here first. Let's just put A4 on the board. You could do other things. But the point is now to say that you are not going to be able to make this happen without your business falling apart. Like you aren't going to be able to move to get my A pawn. I'm not saying that's correct. I'm just saying I think that's the narrative.
Right. But here's an idea, Jesse. Normally we'd go king E3, right?
Okay.
But look the other way, king E1.
Look the other way.
We can evict that guy. We can scoot over from underneath, push him out.
Okay, but even so, first of all, he'll get a bunch of moves and he goes rook B4. You know, we haven't done that much eviction. I don't know if the eviction notice has truly been sent. You know what I'm saying?
So his king would be on E5 in advance of that, I guess.
And at some point, you know, we can imagine like an H5, H4 being in some way helpful to the guy. But yeah, this is I think something like that is White's intention here. Yum Le Petit Prince subscribed. Nice. Thank you. So here we are. Knight BC3 was played. Rook B3 was played. A4 was played. And so Rook B3 is like demanding that dude play A4, which we kind of felt was a bonus anyway.
Well, he's just getting out of the way, right? It had to happen. It was gonna happen.
And I just want to say, I mean, I feel that white has definitely made progress. No doubt about it. Is he
Yeah.
winning? It's still going to be a long road, but his progress has been made.
Yep. All right, 1 second. I'm gonna take this call quietly.
One thing while he's doing that is F4 probably doesn't work, but that could be maybe mildly annoying. I don't know. It's real frisky to play F4. Really frisky. Nope. Well, we can dispose of F4. That's again the tactical tricks, baby. No F4 for you. So F4 is out. That means that white will achieve king e3 next move. And we have successfully stabilized the situation. The dynamic that we discussed 3 million years ago still pertains, though, in that we are going to need to send our knight on a mission to kill this pawn. And when we do said thing, our G pawn can fall. Now, like I said, to win this game, I think we have to be playing with two weaknesses. So not just this pawn, but to be making black pay attention to this weakness too. Yeah. And Zenbeat is talking about maybe king g5, h4, definitely a thought. And one of the things about this construction for white is at some point we might want to play g3, right? At some point g3. But just to put a point on it, let's say king g5, king e3, king h4, no, you don't want to do it. I get it, though. You might be able to arrange some kind of king h4 in a better way. Okay, king e5, let's call that the natural move, was played by black. And we are anticipating king e3 now.
Yeah. I mean, here that king's kind of out of range of the forks at the moment and taking some territory. So white could play g3 or king e3, right? G3 is played.
G3 is played. And g3, let's say that's the construction move, right?
Yeah.
So he's saying, dude, I got this construction. I'm going to deny you counterplay forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to go waste you.
Good plan. That sounds good to me.
Right?
Waste him. Waste him. So I would bring the king to d3 and see if you play rook b4 to keep me from advancing to the fourth rank, right?
Dude, let's just say that rook is, we're taking away some good squares from that rook, and our knight on e2 is just stopping all of the junk.
Yeah. And basically at the right moment, I might reposition the knight from e2, right? Once the king's on d3, do something like knight g1 to f3, come back out to d4.
Oh, yeah, and it's really hard for black because I think from now on you're just sitting.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, okay, this is your moment. I don't believe in this. Oh, here's another nasty. If king d6, you have to worry about knight d4.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that works because there's still rook b2, but I'm just saying that's another thing he's got to worry about. And if I was black, I would really want to try to find something active because I would feel like if I don't find something active, I'm going to get wasted.
Yeah, no, that looked completely dead, Jesse, because after rook b2, the white king goes up to e3, let's say. Your f pawn is hanging. You bring your king back to e5. There's knight c6, takes a5. I mean, it all just comes apart.
Now, maybe the intention of rook b6 is to say, if king e3, I want rook h6 to kind of bind you down. Now, in addition to h4 there, I have knight f4, which also looks nice.
Right.
So that's not going to really solve the problems.
I think he wants to
King
harass
E3.
the g-pawn to try and stop white from making progress. I think his plan is to put the rook on g6 But once again, Jesse, I have to say I'm surprised that he didn't go to B8 because I'd conceived of this plan as rook B8 to G8. And I I'm too simple-minded maybe, but I'm always trying to get some distance with the rook. And this is the second time he's gone half the distance. And for example, this allows white even a direct knight f4 move, maybe.
Well, also now I'm about to shut your rook out from touching any of my coconuts with knight b5.
Oh, you could do knight b5.
Oh, dude, Gukesh is giving a class today, dude. He's giving a class.
Yeah, I mean, eventually you check that king back, and you can even bring the white king to f4. I mean, if your king's on f4 as white, geez, Louise.
Yeah.
But what I like here, Jesse, is knight f4 first. And then I'm going to go knight d3, right?
Well, when you say knight f4, it's black's move.
Didn't he just play rook b6?
No, rook b6, we played king e3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so now rook b4 is played. And now if I try my knight f4 move, there's maybe rook c4? Okay. I see.
All right, rook b4 was played.
Yeah, so this position might be more like a knight g1 position instead of a knight f4.
Well, I mean, rook b4 really encourages knight f4.
But the idea is to then play rook c4. Gukesh played something quickly here. King d3, very quickly.
Makes sense, just because he's saying, look, he's like, my knight on e2 is a hero.
Yeah.
And dude, as black, you might be in Zugzwang kind of fast, bro. King d3 is a good practical move because it's just like,
see.
What are you gonna do, buddy?
Right, because this move doesn't really threaten anything. It's just Zugzwang.
Now, one question for black is, do I want to play h5 intending h4? The drama with it, though, is that once you play h5, then I can play h4, and we have a third weakness to look at.
You're in range of the knights, man. I don't think you want to go there.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, let me because this is the kind of thing I would want to look at as black. So let's say h5. Just bear with me a second here. h4, rook g4. And my threat, if we want to give it that, is to play f4.
So, but now that there's that juicy h pawn, oh, I see the grief. If I bring my king all the way to f3, you go rook c4, and that also keeps my knight from coming to f4.
Black played h6. So that suggests he's feeling a little Zugzwang. He's feeling a little Zugzwang.
Slightly out of moves. Just a little.
So especially in time pressure, maybe you just be a jerk and play. Well, okay, so on king e3, he could go rook c4 or something.
Yeah, but then you have to triangulate him, right? King d2, king e3. I mean, h6 is the kind of move you play when you know you're in Zugzwang, but you're trying to pretend you're not.
So if you wanted to, if triangulation here is a real thing, you could play king d2. Now, let's just say there's other moves like knight f4 is just a simple question to ask here.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything wrong with knight f4.
Oh, he's just, keep moving your h pawn. I'll play king d3, king e3. I'm not even triangulating. I'm just.
But the simple triangulation move is like king d2, rook c4, king e3, rook b4, king d3, and then we say welcome to the dojo. Now, is it that big of a deal, though? Is it really a Zugzwang? Like, couldn't black just play rook b2? And what's wrong with that? I don't know.
A rook b2 lets the white knight come to d4 here, right?
All right, things have happened. King e3 happened.
Oh, he found it. He found his own
D3.
triangulation.
That was me, buddy. Thank you. I called king e3. Thank you. Give it to me. Now, king d3, he's just repeating a little bit. Just wanted to see where you're going.
So it's interesting, Jesse, if he tried to triangulate with king d2 there to d3, right? King d2, rook b2, king d3, rook b4. So black found 3 squares for the rook, right?
Right.
So maybe if white wants to triangulate, he needs to go king c2 to d2 and then up.
I'd be nervous too on king c2 that then the h5 thing might actually work, right? Oh, here's an obvious problem.
But how does the h5 thing work? I mean,
I just want to show you a basic problem that black has. Knight f4 exclam, knight g6. So the h5 is completely out.
Oh my God. Okay. Also, I didn't understand, how does h5, h4 help black?
If
Like
we
h4
trade
for
off that
white?
pawn, we get some more squares for the rook.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, you play h5, white plays h4.
Well, the intention would be if your king were wayward on c2, I could play for rook g4 and then f4.
But when you play f4, gf is check.
And then we're going to say the pawn on h4 eventually goes.
Okay.
That's the
Or
claim.
if my-
I don't know.
Or if my king is on the second rank instead of the third rank, I potentially play knight takes f4, rook takes g3, knight takes h5.
Possible. And I'm just saying maybe then I have rook h3 and I win your pawn and I'm just trying, I'm trying to trade some pawns. I want to trade some pawns.
Yeah. It's true. If you trade all those pawns, then even if white wins the a pawn at the end, you just sack your rook for the
Exactamundo.
pawn. White has to be careful about winning too many black pawns. Okay, king e3, rook b3, king d3, rook b4. To me, king c2. To me, king c2. That's where you'll find your triangle. Triangle.
Now Zenbeat's
maybe
saying,
king c2, rook b8.
or just rook c4. I'm not sure we're really doing anything, brother boss. By the way, I think the issue with knight f4 now is he plays like rook d4 check, and it's kind of annoying. All right, knight g1. I think you were the one that said knight g1 about 3 million years ago.
I did. I thought that would be a way to force the knight to the d4 square.
But you know, the cool thing actually about it too is we're just saying, boss, your king is now going to leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like in the great song, Get Back, Get Back, Get Back. So idea is you go knight f3 check, the king retreats, you go knight d4. Now the king needs to defend the f pawn, but if he defends the f pawn, you might have knight c6. So black needs something kind of like a counterplay Skiatsk, and the move f4 might even need to be calculated here.
I don't think so, because even if I don't win it outright, I can just play g4, and I'm going to blockade it like a mother with knight f3.
Right, and you think the pawn is too close to the center to be a threat.
Oh man, knight g1.
There.
Man. This guy's got some skills.
Did you know that Arjun Erigaisi won 6 games in a row before today?
I did hear about that, yeah, dude. And the 2,700 list, like we predicted, is becoming dominated by Indians, dude.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
And Anon is in 10th place. You guys laughed.
I knew you were gonna say that, dude.
Well, if you want to bring up that episode, I mean, you guys laughed at me as if I was just taking drugs.
It's still gonna be. You're still wrong. The other thing, though, that happened from that episode is Ali Reza definitely made the comeback. When we did the episode, he was like number 15 or something like that.
Yeah. That was a good call from you guys that he was one of the people outside the top 10 with the best chance of coming back up.
That was my call. Thank you very much. That you guys.
Yeah,
It's just me.
but I think Kostya also agreed. He was on Kostya's list too, right? For the top 10.
Yeah.
Um,
And I said that Wesley was going to fall out. He did.
nice.
I said that Nepo would probably fall out, and it looks like that's going to happen.
Right on that borderline there.
And yeah, dude. Abdu, when we predicted that, dude, he's at number 5 now.
Yeah.
And Eric Icy's flying, dude.
You know who else could make the top 10 by next, whatever, when was it? May, June? I
Who's
mean,
that?
there's still a lot of time left. The other person who can make it is Hans Niemann.
I knew you were
Even
going
though,
to say that's not true, dude. That guy doesn't have a shot. Give me a break. It's too
what do you mean?
competitive.
He's somewhat close now, no?
You know, it's so competitive to make the top 10. I mean, he would
Yeah.
need, I'm looking at it now, he'd need basically 20 points.
Yeah.
And he got a little lucky to get where he was, dude.
Or he would need Mohamed Yarov, Aronian Dominguez, and Wesley So, and Anand and Nepo to fall below.
Oh, and actually, you made that video about Keimer, dude. And Keimer, after you made the video, you like jinxed him because he's been doing terribly at the Olympiad, lost 12 points.
Yeah.
You blew it, bud.
I blew it?
You jinxed him. What was funny about that video too is I remember when we did I thought Keimer had a good chance for being one of the top juniors or whatever, and you kind of poo-pooed the kid, and then you came around. Okay, Rook B8. Your Rook B8 has been played, Mr. Bruce. We are anticipating Knight F3.
What are you anticipating?
Knight F3, right?
Oh, Knight F3 has been played. Knight F3 and King F6 have been
Oh,
played.
there we go. Pop, pop. Yeah, moves are going to start coming a little faster now, my friends.
So now White needs to be prepared for Rook G8, right? Like, for example, Knight B5 is a pretty move, but Knight B5, Rook G8 is not it at the moment. Maybe King E3,
Knight D5 is definitely also a move.
right? Knight D4. Okay. Yeah, I guess that was after all the main intention of this knight maneuver was to bring this guy up to D4 and start looking at knight C6.
God, this is brutal, man. So now I can play
Knights
knight
start hopping, it's just a
CE2 if I
horror.
need to. There's no king E5. We have pushed, we're like dominating that king, dude.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens.
Dang. Yeah, when we talk about endgame skills, this guy's like showing the next level. Now, maybe rook D8 is a little annoying to deal with. Oh, rook D8's nothing special. Oh, it's so hard to play the black position here, man. Because honestly, with black, you also have a bunch of different moves here. Rook D8, rook C8, rook G8.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. There's a hole in your bucket, right? It's just everything's draining out.
Boss, there's a hole in my bucket.
I'm just gonna check on the fourth board real quick, Jesse. Oh, it's still playing, still working.
So otherwise,
Nope, they agreed to a draw as I say it.
Okay.
They've agreed to a draw. So this is it for the match. 3 draws and this.
Okay, I felt the default move for Gukesh here would be knight CE2, threatening king C4.
And right now we can't play king c4 because of rook c8.
At least I didn't see a way out after that.
Yeah.
You could consider king C4, rook C8, king B3.
Right.
I think he's going to play knight ce2. It's still hard to, it's not it's not over yet.
No, not at all. But it's just, I mean, all he's done is he's untangled, and now he has the right to play this endgame, right? Like all that work just to play it.
Okay, wait, Mr. Bruce. After knight ce2, how do you save your soul?
I mean, it's tough because I don't even yet know exactly what the threat is.
I want to play king c4.
Okay. Helps me a little bit. All right, let's say I go rook b8 here.
Okay. I definitely want at least. Okay, let me think about what you want. All right, knights. Let me first try this one because that's what I want.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I was gonna give a check.
Like, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna give a check, but knight c3, and I'm kind of just boxed out of everywhere, right?
I was thinking maybe you would try this so that knight a5, rook a6, but I think then I'm getting the real squeeze going on. Look at those knights, dude. And I'll just play king c4 sooner rather than later.
Yeah, or knight a5 next move, right? Yeah. That rook's gonna get trapped again.
Yeah, you got to have like nerves and real stamina to hold the line. Because one little mistake from either of these people, and they will make a mistake, dude, and then all the joy is gone.
Jesse Lasasana wants to know which of my predictions or calls was more controversial. Anand, number 10 in the world next year, or Philidor being the greatest player of all time.
Well, the Philidor thing was just so dumb, dude. It was just so incredibly dumb that has to take the cake. I have an idea for black, actually, after knight ce2. How about king e5? With the thought that if you play king c4, I'm going to play king e4.
Woohoo! And get inside, nice and cozy.
There's still heat. Let's say I go king c4. I give it to you. Here. Then I tap your rook.
Yeah.
Maybe you got to play rook b8. Maybe you play rook b8 and save the day. Wait a second.
Go back and move. Go back and move.
Yeah.
Play knight c3 check last move instead of tapping the rook.
Okay.
Knight c3. Done.
Check to the miserable king, my friend.
Out of squares. God, it takes a long time to notice even the smallest little tacticos sometimes.
Okay, he plays the easy move, king e3. He's got time, by the way. He can move back and forth a little bit. There's no king e5 because of knight c6. And on rook c8, we could do other things or just repeat with king d3. Rook c8 was played pretty quickly. King e3, dude, thought for 4 minutes.
Yeah. Good on Wei Yi to play an occasional quick move. Gotta have some confidence to hold these as well. Stay focused. Believe.
I believe I can fly.
Oh, he's handling this rook with pretty good skill, Wei Yi, so far.
I think of Wei Yi as being kind of older, but he's only 25. He's only 25, dude.
It's because he became a super GM 10 years ago.
So, king e3. I would just play king d3 and forget about it. Start, reboot it. Huh. Oh, I'm hungry, Dave. You got a snack for me, bud? No snacks?
I got a peanut and a cashew. No, a peanut and a quarter of a cashew.
Uh-huh.
Which do you want? I'll eat the other. We can share.
I'll have the peanut, bud. Give me the peanut.
All right, here you go.
Whatever you do, don't give him anything crunchable. Oh, I love that peanut, man. Give me that peanut. Saying I can't have the peanut?
Man, Gook's in the tank here.
Gook's in the tank, dude. I don't like this king e3. I mean, I just had a plan with the other move, and now I don't really know what the plan is here.
Mm-hmm.
Also on king d3, then black can play king e5, which he couldn't have done when the rook was on b8.
Mm-hmm. True that.
Oh, boss, you're killing me, man. Play king d3.
This is chess at the highest level, Jesse. We're not all intended for it.
No, we're not.
Some of us just want to see a move. Some of us are just buzzing out.
All right, David, I'll be right back. I got to eat some.
Mm-hmm. Go for it. Good God. I just received an email that says a new bot has appeared. Challenge Discord bots. How many more moves melt like butter? It's really hard to say. Honestly, it could be 80 moves, and it could be 10 moves, 8 moves if it comes to a standstill here and he can't get any further. He can't play king f4 right now because his rook is attacked. So he's got to either play king d3 or move the steed.
I got something crunchable.
Uh-oh. Spaghetti-o.
Oh, it's because, who said that? Jake, I got an apple. How do you feel about them apples? How do you like them apples?
Oh, no.
We got king d3 played. Hey, buddy, you took 5 minutes on it. You could have just listened to the dojo and played it right away.
Yeah. If you're Wei Yi, you maybe play rook d8 really quickly just to conserve energy here.
Well, he does.
Done. Mm-hmm. Why is Jake so afraid of crunching?
So now I was thinking knight ce2.
Yeah, he did it.
Oh, I'm a
Second
genius,
time around.
dude. And actually, the chess.com interface informs me really that it's only knight e2 because knight de2 is not playable. Still, on my score sheet, I'm always going to write knight ce2 in a situation like that.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Oh, melt like butter. There's people who go to sleep with my voice, dude. I'm ASMR Central.
Yeah. 92. All right. So Jesse had a plan here, which was to next play king c4. Be aware, Wei Yi. He wants to play king c4 next. And he's willing to run his king straight to b5 and just forget about the other side of the board. Say that construction can hold against basically anything you throw at it. So, I mean, obvious move numero uno would be rook c8, preventing king c4 and not walking into knight c6. So what do you have ready for us against that move, Jesse? Rook c8.
I turned the sound off. I didn't want to hurt Jake's feelings.
Okay. I have an idea, folks. I'll just say against rook c8, maybe white could have played knight b3.
Okay, in fact, rook b8 happened.
Right, so rook b8 is the move. And now against king c4, he wants rook b4 check. And against knight c6, he wants to resign. What is he doing, Jesse?
Knight c6 looks very strong, my friend.
And Liart had another backup plan for us. Knight f4 to g2 to e3. Just saying hello to f5 while keeping everything compact, right?
But there we would lose our A pawn.
Depending where black put the rook, right? But yeah, maybe.
Okay, wait. Obvious question. What's wrong with knight c6?
You had that idea, rook b6, but then just knight d4. We build a wall around the black king. Everything's defended. Our construction's moving closer and closer to their A pawn. It's going to get assimilated into white's construction.
Yeah, we had this. Dojo had this half an hour ago.
Yeah.
And also, if you give me a check, then I go here, and now I'm winning your coconut for sure. And
by the way, something else happened. Knight f4 was played. And then rook to b1.
Wait a second.
I don't know.
Knight c6, boss. That was crushing. That was game ending.
6 looked like, it just looked like resignation to me.
Maybe rook a8, followed by rook a6 or something.
But knight d4, right? We make the box around the black king. There's no hope.
All right, he's doing something here. Knight d5 check.
So is he going to go knight d5, e3 now? The Liart plan? Has he already played knight d5?
Yeah, knight d5's on the board.
So he's going to play Liart's move, knight e3, stopping rook d1. If you go after g1, knight f5 defends the pawn. Oh my god, he's going to have to go to a1, I guess?
Okay, hold on. He could also go king e5, knight c3. That's also an option because there's no rook g1.
So king e5, knight e3, he has rook a1, right? As his last. Save our soul. But then if knight c2, is he trapped? Knight c2, he goes to like h1 or something. He doesn't take the pawn. Maybe. Ay. 5 minutes versus 6.
Wait a second, David. I have a crazy idea. Knight e3,
Yeah.
rook a1, knight c4.
Yeah.
Let's just say king d5. Knight b3.
Reasonable. Oh, God.
It's not over yet. The bummer, though, about this kind of variation is he's always got rook g1 or rook h1 at the end.
Right.
So that didn't actually pan out. So he's got some kind of idea here.
Well, but... Oh, yeah. Okay.
Now, he's obviously he wasn't 100% on this because he's thinking right now.
Right. He also has, like, the insane knight e7. I don't know if there's any advantage to that move.
97.
Yeah. I'm just saying he has the move. I don't know that it has any advantage over knight e3. If he plays knight c3 here, what does black do?
The bummer about knight c3 is it feels like we're just going back to where we were, right? So if,
the idea would be if your rook retreats to b8, we go knight c6, check, takes a5.
he goes rook b8, boss, we take the rook on b8.
And we take the rook there as well while we're at it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But knight c3, like rook g1 or something, then you go
Then
back
we have
to
knight
e2.
f3. And we have knight
Oh,
F3.
excuse me, rook H1.
Rook
You
H1.
know. Yeah.
Rook H1. Ay, ay, ay. He's out of time. He's out of time.
Dude, that knight C6 move was definitely it. This was not it.
It looked like a, you know, it looked really obvious to our level of chess.
I don't know, maybe he missed something here.
Gone to C3.
Knight
So
C3.
now I see rook H1 or rook B6.
Now, on rook H1, it might already be like a forced draw situation, or liquidation, rather. How do you want to deal with rook H1, dude? Let's say you
I don't
play
really
H4.
want to deal with it, but yeah, let's say I play H4.
And now, let's say I play F4.
That's what I was hoping you wouldn't play.
So if G4, I break your blockade of the F3 square with rook H3 before I do anything else. And then you're hosed. Right? And if knight F3, then I go here and there's no G4.
Oh, but Jesse, there's knight E2
I knew you were going to say that.
or E4. You know, knight to E2 or E4.
Uh-huh. Here's a hilarious variation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume you're winning though. Here you go. Take the business. Okay, things have happened.
Okay,
Knight
yeah.
C3, rook H1, check to the miserable king. That makes sense to do that first. Okay, so if he goes to E6, I can play knight E2, and I don't have to commit to H4. Actually, this
Also, we haven't made any progress, right? Because we just retracted our.
right. We
construct.
just did a retraction. But
Aye,
I think at the point at this point, right, Gukesh just has to hope that Black doesn't have a way to completely liquidate the game.
Yeah. But that knight F3, knight E2 looked cold winning, honestly. I mean, it would require more double checking the variation.
This is way more safer because, look, first of all, you give him a question, and now there's not going to be any F4. This is way safer because, like, on E6, I can play knight E2, and on F6 or D6, I can play H4, and you're not going to crack me.
Right, but if I played H4 and F4 doesn't work, then you're sitting there dealing with my threat of knight C6 to A5, whereas now I've retracted, so I'm not really threatening to win anymore.
Here's a problem I see. Let's say king D6. Let's say H4.
Yeah. Rook H3
Rook
anyway.
H3, knight E2,
Yep.
F4.
Yep. Same exact question. I guess if FG3, white will have knight E to G1. Maybe. But you've got rook H2 to get out of the trap.
Well,
Here there might be knight F to G1, though. Is that possible? Knight F to G1. I mean, we're really fishing on the back rank here. Knight F to G1, rook H1.
the milk has gone bad. Okay, knight F3 check, king D6, my move.
Yeah.
Oh, he blew it, man. He blew it.
But knight C6 was so obvious.
It was so cool, man. I don't know
What was
to
wrong with
say.
it?
I believe I can fly. It was your fault that thing happened there.
What's my fault?
That song.
Uh,
All right, but I haven't been
but
paying
we want you to sing. We want you to sing.
too much attention. Has the American team just bit the dust, dude?
They won today against Greece, but I think they had some bad results previously, and they're not on the top of
I
the
mean,
event.
they lost to Ukraine, but did they lose in a different one too? My God, I'm going down the board. I don't even see those people.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Oh, they're not even showing up, man. Maybe they had a bye today.
No. They played. They played Greece. I saw them there.
I'm scrolling down, dude. I'm seeing all kinds of crazy teams, but no U.S. team.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Isn't
right.
it
You guys,
great?
David's a U.S. hater.
Isn't it great to see the big bully of the world down at the bottom with their fancy 2750 average rating? Ooh.
Jeez, dude, so much hate. We've been through this. This has been going on for years. Yeah, I'm not seeing them.
Yeah.
I believe I can fly.
Yeah. I just found Eswatini, but I haven't found the US yet.
Yeah, dude, I'm scrolling down. You're scrolling, right? And you're like, well, where did they go? They're
Yeah.
already at this point. They got to be on board like 60.
Yeah, I mean it's
Ivory
not
Coast,
they're not that far
Guernsey.
back because it's showing you matches with games still going
Oh, I
ahead
see
of
it now.
matches that are finished, right? So that's why they're further down. I found them.
Yeah, I got them. Greece, U.S. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Fabi drew against this kid Theodoro. I know that kid. He's in St. Louis.
Oh my God, he's so good. He drew Fabi.
Well, he had the white pieces, but yeah.
Yeah. Still hard to draw Fabi. Fabi's won a lot of games here. He's on form.
Yeah. Oh, Gukesh. Okay, H4 happened. Rook H3. Oh, I called that. I called that.
Oh yeah. Wei Yi must be confident because he's sent the rook in there to liquidate, right? I mean, that's risky to put your rook in there.
Maybe actually, Mr. Bruce, maybe you could do some wild stuff like knight E2, F4,
Yeah.
King E4, FG. This isn't going to work.
Nope.
F4.
That much I know.
But I think you do need to play this move Rook H2. Yeah, okay. So knight E2 happened. Oh, Gukesh, knight C6. Like I said, man, people make mistakes here. People make mistakes. He clearly missed something.
Theodoru might be the only person to have beaten Eric Geisy in a tournament this year. I don't know about the famous game versus Rajabov, but he played a fantastic game against Eric Geisy this year.
Well,
F4.
Four played, yeah. I called that one like a half an hour ago, boss.
Yeah. You did. You did. So here we got to do some kind of knight G1, rook H1, G takes F4, rook takes H4, right? And that's not doing it for me. No siree.
All right, knight FG1, rook
Yep.
H1.
Yep. And then GF4, rook H4. Yep.
Now, actually, let's just say the obvious. White could lose this, dude. White could definitely lose
Yeah.
this bad boy.
Yeah.
And
Or win it. Man. Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I think like this is we talk about people always saying it's a draw or something. This one I think at this point I'd rather be black.
Wow.
Because the H pawn's such a jerk, and you have to deal with your A pawn too.
Mm-hmm.
And your F pawn ain't going nowhere, son. That thing's going nowhere. How do we even imagine white winning the black A pawn? It's the only conceivable threat you even have. Right?
I don't know. I mean, knight f3. We could try and move the f pawn up the board. Could be done. Could be done. I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't moved yet. I thought it would be knight f3 now.
Maybe king e4 with
Bring
the
it
idea
up.
that we're just hemming your rook a little bit.
Oh, leave the rook in there for a bit longer.
Yeah, this game could go bad, dude.
I mean, king e4, rook h5, knight g3, rook h2, knight f3, rook a2, knight f5 check.
All right, you won that time. Knight f3 happened. Rook h1.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we play knight eg1 here, huh? That might be kind of clever. Knight eg1. Yeah. It's kind of fun anyway.
He's moved the f pawn.
He pushed.
Yep. He pushed. That should discourage black from playing king c5.
As they say, I can believe we can fly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, f5. I believe I can touch the sky.
Can't stop now that you started. Okay, I'm thinking next move from white. I will move the knight to c3, probably, or g3. Check the king and push the f pawn. One more step. Actually, I wonder if there's some world where you could put the knight on d4 or f4 to take away the e6 square and threaten to push the f pawn that way. But then black should just play king e7 and get in front of it.
Let's talk about something obvious, David. Don't you think it was like really a bad sign psychologically that Ding didn't play this game?
Oh my God, yes. I mean, it's just like everybody's waiting for the game, and he's like, no, I can't do it. Even with the day after a rest day. If it had been in the middle of a tournament, right, and he's played 6 rounds in a row, you could be like, well, it was, the rotation of our team. It was the captain's call. Right? But here it's like you had a rest day. You're playing the team that's in first place.
Yeah.
And you don't show up to play him? Like, oh, man. It's just
really bad, dude.
There's no pretense, right? It's just...
And he's been crashing, dude. He lost another 9 points in this event.
Yeah.
Dude, he's outside of the top 20.
Yeah.
I think actually, okay. I think this is an easy statement to make. There has never been a standing world champion that was outside the top 20. I don't even think outside the top 10.
Yeah.
I think there was a time when Petrosian was like 8 or something like that. He wasn't number 1 and people were kind of throwing a fit about it. But this dude is outside the top 20, dude.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. And also, I mean, this like dodging of Gukesh today, I mean, that goes on the list of like, top dodges of all time, right? Along with Kramnik not wanting a rematch with Kasparov and Lasker, dodging everybody for 20 years. Of course, no one will ever equal that record, but all right, h5 and the knight.
That's the most frisky move right there. He says, maybe I'm going to win this thing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little story. So I just did this book, The Woodpecker Method, right? That's put out by Agard's business, and they have all these positions in there from world champions, and they do this nasty thing that's really annoying, where they list Ponomarev, Khalifman and Kazimjanov as world champions, right? But
Oh,
but kind of like to show that they understand that they're screwing it up. They don't have nearly as many problems from those people as from the real world champions.
okay.
But it's an interesting question because he's doing it because out of like a legalistic respect for FIDE, if you really wanted to do it, you'd be like, well, legally they were world champions or something like that, right?
Uh-huh. Wei
Those
Yi.
guys were all, for the most part, outside the top 10 too. I wasn't
Yeah.
even thinking of those guys when I was making the statement of the sitting world champion being outside the top 20.
Right.
But in any case, like, I think there's been a kind of grudging acceptance that Ding is the world champion. But really, like, let's say you look back in 30 years. Maybe you'll just say Carlsen was the world champion, dude.
People might forget that Ding.
It's not like they would forget, but because like, I feel like when I argue with Agard, right, he's going to point to like a legalistic framework that says something like, well, on paper, there was a contract, and it said such and such. And to me, that's so just ridiculous. But if it's almost like there's a certain level at which the world champion needs to be ratified by the chess world, right? And so there's like a deep sense of unratification going on here with this Ding Loren thing, dude.
Yeah.
Deep unratification. And
Hey, Jesse,
yeah.
we could still have two knights against a rook. It's still possible.
Yeah, we could still do it.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
Yes,
it's fine.
you're right. This Ding reign, he didn't do like what Karpov did when Fischer defaulted, right? He didn't go out and prove himself in tournament play because Magnus had defaulted, right? He didn't try and push his rating near Magnus's. He just fell apart. Yeah. And the teenagers don't care, man. They just keep working every day. They're like, yeah, I love chess. I'm still a kid.
Dude, you got to admit, you'd rather be black here, right? If you had
I
to
don't
choose
know.
a side, you'd rather be black. It's gotta be the case that you'd rather be black.
I don't know. I mean, is black going to play H3, H2 here?
Why not?
And then rook D1 check. Oh yeah, if H3, white would always have knight F2. That would hold.
Well, he's officially lost on time, so there it is. There it is.
Oh my goodness.
He's lost on time.
Well, now I'd rather be black.
What happens? Streamus interruptus. They might have agreed to a draw. Kind of a weird position to agree to a draw, but maybe that's what happened. I'm not seeing anything, though.
We don't know who won, Sky.
Sometimes when they
Lhasa thinks that 95 was played.
when they have these events and and they make a draw, if they forget to put the kings on the correct squares right after,
Yeah.
But usually at an event like this, there's going to be some arbiter just, hawkishly standing over him. Something like that.
Yeah, but we've had a few games in this Olympiad definitely where the time ran out and it was because a result had been agreed. But yeah, I mean, White can go for f6, f7, etc. here, right?
It's not gonna work, and you're gonna lose your coconuts. Well, David, I don't know what. Let me ask you, Buzz, are you, after this, are you intending to do the grad program? Grad show?
I have a choice between doing it, trying to do it right away and trying to do it after. Let me see what my situation is.
I gotta run in a second. I'm gonna refresh this page. Let's see what's going on. Oh, we have things happening. Just refresh, Cry. You gotta refresh.
Just refresh? Okay.
We gotta say, Gukesh is playing with balls of steel. Look at this guy. He's playing with balls of steel.
But that H pawn's like about to queen, right?
I know, this is frightening.
King E2 or knight G3, Black just plays H2 and ignores him.
So what does the intention say on King E7? What is the intention?
But he's played Rook F1. He's played Rook F1 on the board.
How do you have Rook F1? Do I have to keep refreshing this thing?
I don't know. Yeah, I refreshed. Got an extra move, I guess.
Yeah, here goes Rook F1.
It's a nice move because it gets out of the way of the H pawn. Ooh.
But on knight G3, what are we doing on knight G3?
H2.
No, boss. Then I play knight takes F1. And I say, welcome to the dojo.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not convinced by it. I mean, maybe you just play like Rook F6 or something after knight G3.
Okay, so you move the rook somewhere after knight G3. Fair enough. On the F file.
Oh, I'm still
F6 is further from the king.
It's not updating for me. All right, knight G5 happened. He's trying to do something fancy, bud.
He's trying to. What is he trying to? Okay, he's trying to play knight F3, and then if H1 queens, he queens, and if king E7, he takes on H2. Knight HG5 to go to F3.
That might be a fancy move, dude.
Oh my God, they're playing on 30 seconds, folks. They're playing their moves with 3 seconds left on the clock every move. That's why
and something's wrong with the transmission too. I got to keep refreshing.
relay can't handle it.
Knight GF3 happened, dude. Dude, this kid is insane. This is coconuts of steel, my friend. Holy I almost said it, but I didn't.
Okay, I assume if Black queens that they're just wrecked. And
Yeah,
the
let's
queen
just
getting check variation.
you're
I
getting
think
wrecked.
Black has to play king E7.
But then knight H2, you're suffering a long time.
Suffering super bad. Unless I'm missing something. Maybe just quickly go rook A1.
Oh, man. He pulled off some trickery. That rook F1 was a mistake, dude.
Was it?
Okay, all right, here we go. Knight H2.
So rook A1, can you take the A pawn and get back before white plays like knight G6 or something to end your soul?
That's our question. I don't see another hope besides rook A1. There it comes. Rook A1 was played. Hopefully the transmission is going to work now.
Rook A1, knight F3, rook A4, knight G5, threatening for the other knight to go to G6 or to come into E6. Rook F4, knight G6, check. What? Okay, one. Knight GF3.
Oh, shit, he might win this, dude.
G5. How does Black stop this knight F3 to G5 plan, Jesse?
I don't know,
I mean,
man.
in any version of what does Black do about this
Dude,
pawn?
Gukesh is a magician, man.
Just pushing that F pawn was sick.
No, I don't think. I think rook F1 on move 72 was a big mistake.
Okay. And you were thinking just get the king over there. Just play king E7.
Yeah, just king E7. He lost his mind.
And king E7.
He was like me, I think. He
Knight
just
G5.
didn't believe that this was
But hang on,
possible.
king E7, knight G5, what would you do then? It would just threaten knight G6 and queening.
Okay, I would go back in a second. I just want to see this,
Yeah.
this little business.
Okay.
All right, Gukesh, you got to move, buddy. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Knight
Played
G4.
G4. So
Okay,
he's
rook
headed
A3 happened.
H6 maybe. I think here he has to keep his king to the second rank, right? Although there might be a direct attack with king e4, king f5 that I just didn't catch properly. But ay, ay, ay.
He's taking all his time, dude.
Oh,
Oh man. Move, buddy, move. All right, I'm
we
gonna
just have
refresh
to
again.
accept that this thing is not working.
Okay,
Okay,
King D2
went to the
happened.
second rank. So the idea is rook a4, knight h6, and claiming that you can't stop knight g6 next move, which is forking you on f4 or h4 or wherever.
And if you go rook D4 check to back to D8, I have knight C6 check.
Oh, that seems slightly lucky, but okay. There's no luck.
Now, the obvious question is, what about checking you to death with like rook A2?
Right, and trying to get to f2.
But still, like rook A2, king C1. If I make you go to the B file intake, then rook. Oh, you know what? Rook B. So once he takes the A pawn, he can't go to C4 because of my knight. And he
Yeah.
can't go rook B4, B8 because of knight C6. Okay, we have the moves rook A4, knight H6.
Yeah.
It looks bad. Black needs something amazing here.
Yes, Jake, the A pawn is behind the Troitsky line. It's right, probably right at it.
But let's just say for that business, we need a knight in front of it. So the knight would have to be on A4.
Right. Like if White's king got checked somehow and ended up at like A3 or A4, and then Black played Rook F2, and you played King A4 and Black played Rook F7, Knight F7, could you then come and switch the knight? I don't know.
Okay, here it comes. That was the big question. I just realized that. Okay.
But can he come up through E3 to E4 to D5 now? To not let the rook get access to
Good.
that?
I think that's got to be the first question. Yeah, it looks toast.
King E3.
There he comes.
Oh, and he didn't think down to 2 seconds on that one.
He's got a plan now, my friends. Oh, dude, that's devastating, man. That's chess. I mean, to push the F pawn like that and to go for it, balls, dude.
The champion of the world.
That was balls, bro. That was some real balls. Yeah, Melt Like Butter 10 years ago was like, oh, this is a dumb
just a
draw.
draw.
This is just a draw.
Just a draw.
This is just a draw. Oh, Wei Yi might be getting ready to resign.
All right, and so there's the idea of rook g2, and then maybe the next move would have been knight d7, Simon. I'm not sure. Moves are coming kind of fast. Let me just try and double check that for you.
Yeah, knight D7.
Yes, I think rook g2, knight d7 was winning last move.
So we're anticipating king e4. I love the way the kid just I would play king e4 in a nervous fit. He's double checking. He's just looking. I'm just looking,
I got a minute
boss.
on my clock.
Dang. There it comes. Oh, that's a huge ELO win for dude too here, man. That's a lot of ELO points when you beat Wei Yi.
I just saw the resignation, Jesse.
How did you see it?
I went to the live video camera. I went to the video camera.
Oh, wow, dude.
Oh.
Damn. That was impressive, man.
His coach came up to congratulate Gukesh, and he gave him a calm, small smile.
Damn.
Just a draw.
Just a draw about leg butter.
I bet they were saying that on the chess.com broadcast too, because they had like an eval bar.
Yeah, dude. Oh, this is a draw. Let's go,
draw.
Robert. Let's go look at some other games. Let's go look at some other games. Something more exciting than this.
That was stunning, man. That was stunning. So
Yes.
yeah, Yeah, I think that might even push Gukesh to number 5 on the live list, dude. You know, depending on how many points you get when you beat somebody like that. I assume he gets around 5 or 6 points for that. So yeah, that's going to put him at number 5. Stunning, dude. Amazing. I believe
catching up with
I can
his teammate.
fly.
Almost catching up with his board 3, Aragaisi. I mean, Gukesh has a lot to prove with how well Aragaisi's been playing, right? He's got to play really well to justify it.
Well, I mean, you're on that team. There's so many of those kids are right around the same level. But this Gukesh, man, he's a fighter, dude.
Yeah.
Freaking fighter. He's just 18. He's only 18.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, when you think about that, like, you know, like you're still growing as a player then. He's not going to peak until like 25 or something.
Yeah.
He's not ducking this thing. He was like, yeah, let's play, boss. Give me a break.
Sure.
I think I'd like to sit at home on my hotel room and watch Netflix.
No. It's not what happened, dude. I think I'll take a draw here because I'm nervous. No. I'm going to push my F-pawn, bro.
Maybe I should trade off the H-pawn and bail out. Somebody in chat was asking right around then, Jesse, like, at what point should white be a little bit worried about making sure that
I said that,
they don't
dude.
lose this? And
I
you were in the
said
middle
that.
of saying, like, hey, I would almost rather be black now with this H-pawn.
I didn't say almost. I said I'd rather be black. Yeah. I didn't think that it was winning for black, but I was like, I'd rather be black. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing, dude. Amazing. Totally stunning. Yeah. So Gukesh is now number 5 in the world, just over Abdu with 2780. 2780. And you know,
Noterbeck's having a good tournament too, Jesse.
Oh yeah.
Noterbeck has 6.5 out of 7.
I know, man. If you were to take the Gukesh's performance rating too in like the last year or something, he's gonna be well over 2800 with that, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, same for Aragaisi and Abdusadarov, right? Like those 3, their performance rating the last year with how much they've gone up, you just know it has to be at least 50 points above their rating, if not 80 points above their rating.
Yeah. Wow, man. Really.
They may have higher performance ratings in the last year than Magnus in that case. It's possible.
Also really impressive, I want to say, this dude I know kind of is Le Quang Liem.
Mm-hmm.
And that dude's he's 33, he's an old man. He's making crazy progress, dude. He's almost ready to pass Anand.
Yeah, it's true. It could happen.
Anand is going to get passed, boss. Anand is not going to be in the top 10 when we do our recap video on that.
Look, I didn't guarantee it. I put him at number 10, not number 9 or 8 or 5 or anything like that. I didn't guarantee it. It just it seemed like a reasonable percentage play to me because it was hard to predict who was going to pass him, you know. I mean, you didn't think Lei Kwang Liam was going to pass him either.
No, I didn't. All right, boss, I got to get out of here. Do you want me to raid somebody, or do you want to take it over?
Let me think. So let's just do graduates now. Let's do it.
All right, you guys, stay tuned, and David's going to take
my OBS here.
Yeah, David's going to take over, and I'm out of here. He's going to do the grad show finally. I wanted to say he's going to have his own flavor. Check it out. It's going to be more interesting. I always say the same things. And also, dude needs to do the graduate show. Costs you too once in a while, just because you learn things about the program, about the people and how they're interacting with it, blah, blah, blah. All right, my friends.